I will click this button. And if it doesn't explode, we'll be ready to go. All right, it's time. Boom, I think it worked. Hey, what up, everybody? Welcome to Afternoon Tea. Shit, what happened to my whiteboard? It's gone.
No.
I gotta, hold on. I gotta cross this. Jeremy, do the thing while I do this. Hold on.
I'm Filipinoman again.
Yeah, so this is actually Filipinoman in disguise, and I have, just in case you didn't notice, oh, it's backwards, son of a bitch. I got Filipinoman's jersey,
Son of a bitch, he said.
It's backwards, damn it.
A tremendous beginning to the podcast.
Wait, we got special guest Rynge in the house. Who better to join us for some fighting game topic discussion? We do have Brian F. back in the building, as well as your boy, Sajam. What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
What's up, dude? I'm chilling. EVO's next weekend. Can you guys believe that?
Yes. No, I can't.
It's messed up.
It's so fast. Despite it, so like over time, before it was like back in June, July, even May. Now it's like all the way in August. Like, give it like 5 more years, it'll be in December, right before Capcom.
Yeah, I feel like EVO is like catching up to when school starts. You know what I mean? Like it used to be like the dates are moving around and stuff. It's like, all right, well now it's like early August. You're like, what, man? It used to be so like I used to have so much more summer. What's even going on? It's messed up.
I think that's EVO's plan though, is to eventually merge into Capcom Cup and then force some kind of
It's the great merger, the unification belt.
They're trying to, because all the leagues kind of all end around that time, right? All of them kind of end towards December for every game. Just eventually just move it right there, then, well, take your pick.
Yeah, that reminds me. Isn't the date for Capcom Cup like super late this year or something?
Is it announced? I can't remember.
I don't remember. I remember somebody telling me it was either that or Tekken that's like super late this year. I was like, Jesus, it seems like it's like in such a late spot. I was like, what the hell, man?
The main reason I don't want like the tour finals to be in conjunction with EVO is because I like EVO mattering for the tours, like having these big points, and then that goes towards the finals. So,
is EVO now actually a part of the Tekken World Tour? Because wasn't that like a separate?
It's a Master Plus event. Yeah, it is a super duper event. As is like, you know how it's like a super premiere for Street Fighter. It's like they've done the same thing. Although for Dragon Ball, it's not like a Saga Plus or something.
No, it's just a regular Saga event.
Yeah, they just made it Saga. So EVO is a Master Plus event for Tekken. It's a super premiere for Street Fighter. It's a Saga event for Dragon Ball. It's like an everything, right? It's like for every game. Yeah, it's no matter what it is.
The points for each of the Pro Tours, if they win EVO, does that like solidify them a spot in the big dance for those respective finals or the Pro Tour finals? Because I know for Capcom Cup, it's like 1,000 points for the Super Premiere. I honestly thought it was just like an automatic spot. Yeah, so before it was an automatic spot, right? Whereas this time it's
I think it was just more points, right?
It's less points now because rather than, which I don't like this about EVO now. So Premier first place is 700 points. So first place for EVO is at the Super Premier category is 1,000, so it's only 300 more. And so previously, I think it was close to 2,000. It was or 1,700, I think, is the number that's coming to my mind. But they lowered that because now there's 3 tournaments at the same category as EVO, which I think is a mistake. So they added like a Super Premier at the NA Finals and a Super Premier for Tokyo Game Show. I think something in Japan Premier.
It's a Japan Premier.
I'm not sure which events. But I think that's kind of an experiment that's going to flop because if you win EVO, more people are going to go. It's going to be a harder tournament, even though you add the same amount of points for other events.
Dude, I mean, like TGS, it's like TGS weekend, I think, the Super Premiere. So I think we all think it's going to be at TGS. But like that event, first of all, sure, it's going to be tough. But to the status of EVO, even the NA regional finals is like also a Super Premiere, which is crazy to me because it's like last year, how many people entered the NA regional finals and TGS combined is probably like still like half of EVO or something, less than that probably.
I think it's going to be EVO, TGS, NA Premier
in terms of numbers,
in terms of difficulty.
Oh, and difficulty.
TGS kind of deserves it because there's a lot of like killers in Japan and Eastern Asia that just don't travel that much. So I think that's kind of nice that they have something to reward them. Dude, it's kind of crazy that NA gets 2 Super Premieres.
Yeah. EVO is kind of big.
Yeah. Vegas and the NA regional qualifier. Not regional qualifier, but the NA regional finals.
EVO is weird because it's kind of like everybody's event, even though it's in NA, right? It's like such a... I feel like all the other NA Premier events, like I feel like, NA has a lot of Premier events. And then you look at EVO and you're like, this thing is like a behemoth. Whoever wins this thing is like, who knows? And also North America never wins it, so, you know. At least for Street Fighter, anyway. You know.
I kind of had the idea that maybe they should do it in like a EVO tour, in a sense that like it's only once a year, but it's at a different location in the world every year, like some real fighting game shit. You know, like different like
move EVO every year.
Yes.
Hell no, that sounds like so much.
That'd be fucking dope. Like you get to give a lot of opportunities to all players, right? It's just like
that's how TI is nowadays. It used to just be in Seattle, but now you do it in different countries, and they're gonna do it in China this year.
I think that's a cool idea for EVO, but it's just like logistically, it seems so crazy to move EVO every single year.
I don't think it works for the scale of EVO, but that's what the World Tour Finals are doing for Tekken. I think you could easily do that for an individual game. Like Capcom Cup doesn't have to take place in the same NA every year. Tekken World Tour is already moving it around. I think that's the right scale for doing something like that.
Yeah,
Dragon Ball moved to France as well.
Yeah, I thought that was cool too. The Tekken one is interesting because it just rotates region every year, right? So like, I think it went from Japan to North America to Europe, back to Asia. So they're rotating between Asia, Europe, and North America, it seems like, right? That's like their rotation between everything. So like next year will probably be North America, and then the year after that, back to Europe or whatever. I think that's a pretty cool way to do it. Having it in each region.
I would love to see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty cool to see. But by the way, you were talking about, I guess, some of the finals spots, actually. What is this? The order of finals for the games and shit.
Yeah, I think I can actually pull it up here.
Yeah, so I was just looking it up today. You kind of like talked about it a little bit, but we have like Soul Calibur on Friday. We have like UNIST on Saturday, DBFZ, SamSho, and MK. And then like Sunday with this BB tag in the morning, and then Street Fighter 5, Tekken, and Smash. Do you guys have any expectations for any of these finals?
I only know Saturday gonna work.
Street Fighter 5, probably a little bit of Tekken, a little bit of Smash, and like a little bit of DBFZ because of you guys, really.
Well, what's interesting to me is like, okay, so this is the way to think about the structure of EVO and the finals. If your the Friday spot is Soul Calibur, right? The thing is that Soul Calibur will be simultaneous with the pools of all the Sunday games, probably, and the semis of everything that's early on Saturday. So, for instance, Soul Calibur top 8 will probably be live during UNIST semis. And then UNIST will start, and UNIST might be live during Dragon Ball semis. I'm not sure, either Dragon Ball semis the night before, or it's live during UNIST, right? Yeah. Then Dragon Ball is next, and Dragon Ball will be happening, right, which will be during the semis probably for SamSho / Mortal Kombat, and then SamSho happens, and SamSho and MK will overlap with the semis of the Sunday games. So SamSho and SamSho and MK will be at the same time as the semis for BB Tag, Street Fighter, Tekken 7, and Smash Ultimate. So the thing is that you can kind of figure out like what you're interested in at EVO versus like what finals you want to watch is like something you have to pay attention to. So for me, let's say that I want to watch Mortal Kombat. If I'm interested in watching MK, I have to know that it'll be during the semis of all of the Sunday games, right? That'll be what's running simultaneous. And the same thing with like if I want to watch UNIST will be at the same time as the semis for Dragon Ball because it's going to be so early in the morning, right? So that's makes sense. That's kind of like how the format for this thing will go.
Is that confirmed, the schedule, or are they just going to run all Saturday top 8s at the same time? Because I also wouldn't be surprised if it's just finals stacked on top of each other on different stages.
Usually the way
they usually
works,
do that, I think.
Yeah, the way EVO works is that the finals for every game is always on twitch.tv/EVO.
Yeah.
Right? So that's the way EVO works, is the finals are always on EVO. So you don't have to look anywhere else for it. Even when Capcom Fighters has a stream at EVO or something, right? And like Street Fighter is on that stream all day. The finals will take place on EVO. And the same thing for every other game. So yeah, my theory is that they will never share stages for a top 8 because the top 8s always occur on twitch.tv/EVO, which is a setup on the main stage, right? Like that stream is set up on that stage. So that's how it should probably work.
Am I wrong in thinking that this is the most finals ever done on a Saturday before?
I think you're right.
This seems like a lot of games run on one day and not on Sunday.
I think there was just as many like back in the day. In terms of how many games were run in a single day, I think there was a little bit more back in like the older generation of EVO. To be honest with you,
in modern EVO though,
modern EVO, yeah.
Usually the Sunday modern EVO has one more game, right? Like last year it was 5 games, I believe. That's why Street Fighter ran so late, and so they kind of shifted it so that instead of it being like adding MK or whatever to the Sunday game, then they have 4 on Sunday and then or 4 on Saturday, 4 on Sunday and then 4 on Saturday, instead of doing like 5 on Sunday, 4 or 3 on Saturday, 2 on Friday, or 1 on Friday. Like they just split it up and they're like, whatever, we'll do 1-4-4 because there's 9 games, right?
A quick Google search shows that in 2018 they only had 3 games on Saturday. So they had Smash Brothers, Wii U, BB Tag, and Injustice was on Saturday last year. So there is one more this year on Saturday. That's why it seemed like a lot to me.
I think
I was wondering how that's going to work out.
I think usually it's like one game on Friday always, and then like 3 games on Saturday, or 2 or 3 on Saturday, and then 5 on Sunday. So if EVO has 8 games, you do 2 on Saturday, 1 on Friday, 5 on Sunday. But I think because of the arena situation, it running super long, and not wanting to do 8 a.m. Guilty Gear or whatever it was like the year before, they just were like, fuck it, we're going to do 4 games on Sunday so it doesn't run super late. So that, like, you know, last year Street Fighter was happening at like 9 or 10 p.m. or whatever. It was super, super late.
Yeah, I don't think there was any Friday games last year.
Yeah, because there was 8, right?
Yeah, there's one more this year. So they Soul Calibur 6 kind of a short end of the stick here.
Yeah,
Friday
I was kind of curious about that, man. They've been getting kind of shorthanded a couple times this weekend. Just like not really getting a lot of time or showtime for their games. But we'll talk about that in a bit. I was actually curious about the finals order. It's not based off of the finals numbers at all.
Well, I think Saturday is, right? Like, Saturday is actually an order of... Well, actually, MK has less than SamSho, but besides that, it's UNIST and Dragon Ball. That's in order of entries, and then SamSho, and then MK. MK is the last spot, but SamSho has more numbers, right? So besides that, it's based on attendees, and then Sunday is flipped also in the middle with Street Fighter and Tekken, because Street Fighter has more entries than Tekken, but it's first.
Yeah.
I don't think this is based on entrance, basically. I think there's kind of a logical flow they kind of went with, especially for Sunday. Sunday, there's obvious... This is more about knowing the community and the audience and what are people hyped for versus entrant numbers. And Soul Calibur 6 is the second lowest. BB Tag is the lowest with BB Tag at 640,
less than 1,000.
and Soul Calibur 6 is 742. So I guess take your pick. Would you rather be the first game on Sunday or at prime time on Friday? So that's kind of up for debate. But besides that, Sunday, you can definitely tell there's a story to be told here. It's not based on entrance or anything like that.
Yeah, I think
besides Smash.
I think, besides Smash, right? Which I think should have the Sunday spot. That's 100%. Final. Dude, the numbers are absurd, right? First of all. And second of all...
EVO, man. Blows all the other numbers out of the water.
The numbers are crazy. They have the launch bump, plus the fact that Smash Ultimate's numbers in general are absurd at like all their tournaments, right? It's even like so crazy that if you compare it to all like the Melee numbers at their events, you're like, holy shit, Smash Ultimate is crushing it. So yeah, like the way, like when I'm looking at it right now, it like makes sense for the Sunday to ramp up like that and then finish with Smash. And it's great for me because the Sunday games I'm most excited for, and I feel like almost everybody else on this call probably feels the same, is Street Fighter and Tekken. Like those
Smash.
Oh, yeah, I know you played a lot of Smash, actually, when it came out. I'll watch Smash, but probably not in the venue. My plan is to watch Street Fighter and Tekken in the arena, and then...
While we're gambling. Sorry.
It's going to be dinner time, right? So you got to do dinner and gambling after that, and I'll watch Smash on my phone or check it out later or something. But the thing is that the last game is always so late, right? Like, even this year, they cut down the number of games. It happens so much later than everything else that by that time, it's like, I got to get out of here. I'm all EVO'd out. And from my perspective... And I know that Jeremy and Rynge know this feeling. At that point, I will have done like 16, 17 hours of commentary or something, plus like a bunch of other crazy shit. I'll be spent. Like I'm dead at that point. So the last thing I want to do is sit and watch more fighting games. Like my brain is going to explode, you know? So I got to get the hell out of there.
Yeah, I think this is definitely the best order. Not, like I said, not from a numbers perspective. Just think about what the community is leaning towards. Tekken 7 has been on such an upswing lately, even though Street Fighter has like what 40 more people, a handful of people, who knows if they're even all going to show up more than Tekken. I think the hype, the viewership, and the amount of crossover between the communities who actually watch Tekken is at an all-time high compared to Street Fighter 5. I still think Street Fighter 5 is more insular to just Street Fighter people. Smash players, I see a lot of top players tweeting about Tekken. I think there's some kind of love between the Tekken and Smash communities, and it's kind of really hard to get Smash people to care about.
I don't want to see the end product of that. That sounds gross.
Well, there's some kind of cross-child between Tekken 7 and Smash coming. and that's going to happen at EVO. We'll see what comes out of that. But
We've
I
already
think that's
seen
a great choice.
We've already seen a
Tekken
Tekken
7
character
Smash last.
like kind of in like a Smash platform with PlayStation All Stars. I don't want to kind of see that.
Bruh, Ryu and Ken are in Tekken or in Smash,
And Akuma's in Tekken.
and Akuma's in Tekken. The
They
thing
put a
about
Smash character in Tekken.
the thing about Smash Ultimate,
Mario
is,
and Tekken would be hilarious.
hell no. Could you imagine he's got?
Instant pain.
It's like having Yoda in Soul Calibur. You know how he was like a playable character in that height. It would be
Yeah.
the same exact thing with Mario and Tekken. He'd be able to hop all over the screen and just clown on you.
You know
He's
Mario's
like,
up B.
He's like, everybody's super serious, and he's just like the joyful fucking character in the entire roster, just clowning on you.
You know his
Oh,
up
like-
B where all the coins come out in Smash? That would be like a just frame like uppercut
that's
in
like-
Tekken, and only the coins would come out if you just frame it. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Could you imagine Mario's wave dash? Let's go! He's just fucking coming across the screen and shit. That would be so
It's
sick,
literally-
right?
Email
It's
Harada
Brian S
right now.
notification all the time. It's just Brian S notification. Just
Ooh.
as he's
Yes.
watching wave dashing.
But
He's just
yeah,
wave dashing.
to build on your point, Brian, I mean, the word of mouth for Tekken is incredible, right? I mean, it continues to grow more and more as we see every EVO. And it's just super sick. I saw someone earlier in a chat, I think it was Majin Obama's chat, that was like, Tekken getting here has been a slow grind, but I'm glad that it's finally gotten here. And I think it's amazing that it's gone here via a slow grind. Like, what other fighting game has done that nowadays, right? It's always like they peak and then they kind of drop off, and the hardcores, the dedicated players stick with it. Rarely do we see like these random Twitch streamers that are big picking up a fighting game like Tekken that we've seen as well.
Yeah, especially because Tekken was at EVO. Tekken 7 was at EVO in 2015, I think it was, or 20. Yeah, they had the arcade version in 2015 before the game was announced, or before it was out on console. Then they had 2016, so another year before it was like out. Then they had 2017 when it was barely out. And I remember traveling with Tekken 7 when it was first like playable in the US with Wizard World, like when we would go around. And these con tournaments had like, you know, there was like 30 to 40 people in these con tournaments for Tekken sometimes. And it was like, this is the only place in the United States you can play Tekken 7, right? Now every local has 50 to 60 people playing Tekken. Like, it's like absurd how many people show up for Tekken at all these places. But on the point of Smash crossover as well, what's interesting to me about the EVO lineup this year in particular is that Smash Ultimate compared to Melee, I feel like has so much crossover. Smash Ultimate players and viewers and stuff, to me, watch other fighting games way more than I felt like the Melee community was with. And we noticed this a lot in Dragon Ball last year in particular. So many of the Smash Ultimate players were Dragon Ball players. There's tons of crossover there. And also they just have like a built-in interest in other fighting games, it feels like, right? They're always like watching or like playing other games. I constantly see Smash Ultimate people tweeting about other games and communities, and you see Melee players do it too, but I feel like the Smash Ultimate scene is younger, and they're like people who are like more involved in like maybe that direct scene than maybe Melee, which is a little bit more Smash focused. And even the numbers in EVO show that like year over year Smash Ultimate has more crossover. Like last year it had more crossover with other games than Melee did. It actually had more crossover with like Dragon Ball than I think it did with Melee.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
And bro, the arena for Tekken is gonna be nuts, bro. Not only because it's obviously like prime position, right? Third in the day. That means everybody's gonna go and do their thing in Vegas and then come in. But on top of that, you mentioned the Smash crossover, how interested Smash Ultimate fans are in other fighting games and players. Right. So they're probably gonna be in there reserving spots as well. And then the leftover from Street Fighter, you know, everybody's gonna stay in there for that just because Tekken's so hype. Like that arena is gonna be crazy.
Dude, I'm telling you right now, if you take those Smash Ultimate fans and Tasty Steve gets on the mic and he's like, you guys make some noise, people are gonna fucking like Tasty Steve is broken actually. I feel like Tekken, besides having awesome players, it's a fantastic game, people love it. It has the most broken champions to fight for them. Like the people who champion Tekken, like Tasty Steve and Rip and Mark and Eric, like the squadron of people, Rick at Twitch, like all the people who champion the game and put that shit on their backs, you know, like those motherfuckers are broken. They need to get nerfed in the next patch or something. Like these motherfuckers are cheating, and they do such a good job of making people love Tekken. Like it's fucked up, man. They're too good. Watching Rip and Steve in the arena last year was like the most magical thing I've ever seen. And I remember walking up to them and being like, no one's close. Like those two combined in the arena was the most broken experience I've ever had. They had the security guard in the front screaming about fucking Panda. That shit was so sick. They're
so broken, right? And on top of that, the gameplay that Tekken has produced from tournament-wise has just been off the charts, right? So it's just a reciprocation. It's just recycling of awesomeness constantly.
I'd rather have Tekken be the game that is bridging the gap between different communities. So if, say, Street Fighter V had taken the spot where Tekken 7 is before Smash, what would have happened is you would have far fewer Smash people camping out to reserve their seats for Smash. And the ones who were there would probably just be disinterested, dissatisfied. Worst comes to worst, it's Smash waiting room, and it causes more animosity than bringing people together. I think Tekken 7 is the game to get people who are just passing through to watch. And I think we would see, just like if we had Smash before a traditional fighting game, we'd have the opposite problem where we might have the arena just completely emptying out, and then complete just traffic stampede of people coming in for Tekken and everyone leaving for Smash. So I really think they structured this perfectly to get the most amount of crossover. And I think this will actually bridge more gaps in the FGC and make both of these communities grow a bit.
Also, you have to think, like, all these, I feel like these titles that are on Sunday too, they probably have something up their sleeves. Markman has been tweeting nonstop about these EVO announcements and how sick they are. And I feel like when I see Markman tweet the EVO announcements are going to be mad sick, I think to myself, the Tekken announcement is going to be mad sick. Like, I don't know what anything else is.
No, he's talking about Soul Calibur 6.
Soul
Calibur.
Talking
about Abigail for Street Fighter 5.
Abigail, dude, just smashing people and everything, dude.
Oh, that'd be Abigail versus Marduk. Ooh.
Damn, the crossover.
That would be sick as fuck.
That, I'm telling you, like, when I saw that tweet, I was like, dude, this motherfucker, man, what is it gonna be? What do they have on Sunday? I feel like, especially seeing BB Tag there on Sunday so early, then there has to be an announcement for that game. And everybody at Capcom and Ono, and they've been teasing a Street Fighter announcement. Tekken 7, I'm sure, will have something up their sleeve, whether it's a new character or a new season, or Tekken baseball or bowling or some shit. Bowling online.
Tekken baseball would be hilarious.
Could you imagine the umpire?
Instead of using a bat, you just Electric Wind Godfist the baseball.
Dude, the umpire is going to be Harada. It's going to be his model in the game, just like standing back there, just fucking pointing people out and shit.
He's like, come on, ump, are you blind? Hold on,
Harada.
Don't ask me for shit.
That would be sick.
I would love that. I think Tekken Sports in general should be a thing.
Yeah. Tekken Sports? That would be sick. True Ogre and fucking Tekken Ball? That motherfucker was cheating, dude. That
was cheating.
He could spit fire.
Or, Tekken Ball. It wasn't really volleyball.
Yeah.
That was pretty cheap.
Yeah, and also I think that this year, from talking with some of the people who are working on EVO, like, they have some cool stuff planned for the arena experience too. So I think, like, I said it this year, I tweeted early that I thought that the arena experience is so sick, right? Like, the arena experience is really, really cool if you've never been and seen it at EVO. I think it's like the place I would take, like, my family if they've never been, right? I wouldn't even tell them to go on Friday and Saturday, I feel like. I'd be like, you don't even need to come to all that. There's foot traffic. It's like a convention for nerds who love fighting games. But Sunday is just such a big spectacle, and it's so cool, right? It kind of reminds me of how, like, CEO has the ring where everybody comes in and shit. It's just like that. Shut the hell up, Rynge. It's just like what's it called? The CEO, where the wrestling ring is such a big spectacle. EVO is the same way in kind of their own fashion. And yeah, like, that experience is so cool. And this year, from talking with them and, like, thinking, they've, like, tried to be like, okay, how do we make the arena experience even better than it already is, beyond, having awesome games, awesome time? Like, how do we utilize this space to its fullest potential,
I'm sorry, I couldn't help
you got stuck on, if you can dodge an electric, you can dodge a ball, huh? You motherfuckers are talking about Tekken dodgeball. I seen it in the chat. I seen it.
It's way too buff.
Sorry.
That's pretty good. You couldn't hit water if you fell out of a boat. Go on, Rynge.
I agree. The Sunday lineup is definitely optimal for the build all the way to Smash. I would have liked to see UNIST instead of BB Tag on Sunday, of course, right? Just because UNIST has had a tremendous word of mouth following as well. A lot of people have been picking up that game and playing it. It's a tremendous fighting game. Had a lot of entrants, obviously, almost eclipsing DBZ's entrance. But I think just like BB Tag last year, everybody showed up in waves and droves at EVO, so I think they just probably wanted to reward the game again.
It's also going to be a 30-minute top 8.
Yeah, that's true.
That shit is... Somebody's going to get exploded. I can't imagine being a BB Tag player and you set your buttons and the match is shorter than your button setting, you're like, oh shit, this is bad. Like, I just got absolutely destroyed. So I think BB Tag is fun to watch too. It had a good EVO last year. The finals was really fun to watch. So I think like a lot of people are kind of like, man, BB Tag is on Sunday, but the Sunday finals will be good. I think. Well, the thing about this kind of event, as like EVO is, right, is like it doesn't matter what the game is. The finals will be good. All the best players in the world are going to be there. So the gameplay, no matter what, will be super high level. There'll be fascinating storylines. You'll have the best players, the best commentators, the best stream, like everybody to put in the best kind of experience for whatever you're watching. And when you look at it like that, it's why I always recommend that everybody tries to watch at least the top 8s for all the games at EVO if you can, because this is just like a nice taste of the best the game can offer in one place, right, where you can just watch all of it at once and kind of enjoy it.
So does anyone know the last time an NRS game was on Sunday? Because that's something that was, I guess, initially the most surprising, but then after the fact I thought about it, the least surprising, of MK11 being on Saturday and the amount of entrants it had. So I was just glancing back. So in 2017 and 2018, Injustice 2 was on Saturday.
It'd been 2016, right?
And in 2016,
it was the morning.
Was it on Sunday?
I think it was the morning slot.
Well, that was, yeah. So it was 2016. That was Mortal Kombat X was on Sunday in the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty surprising to me. That, well, like I said, initially surprising, but when you really think about it, how MK is such a powerhouse of a video game, but a video game, you know, in terms of capturing casual audiences, but then translating those numbers into competitive FGC people, it's pretty strange how low the crossover is, but also very remarkable how well these games sell. I think as far as EVO slots go for Sunday and stuff, I mentioned it earlier that I would take my family on Sunday, and I think that's maybe why Mortal Kombat's not there, because I don't know if my family would particularly enjoy the bass of Mandalay Bay Arena pumping in the noise as Kung Lao rips somebody in half through his saw and drags them through them, and there's just guts and blood. And I'm like, look, Grandma, don't look at that. Don't pay any attention to Kung Lao. Look at that. Just instead, look at the sick dive kick he did right there into the crush. You know, like, you got to try to avoid it. It's a little rough.
But then if you have it on
consideration,
yeah, if you have it on Saturday night, then it's like all the kids, you know what I mean? They don't have school the next day. They're looking forward to the gore, the violence that Mortal Kombat is bringing.
Fortnite dancing while he's getting ripped in half. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
That is awful.
Yeah, but it's also funny how Samurai Showdown, a game which I haven't looked at the sales numbers, but it couldn't have been more than 0.01% of Mortal Kombat 11 sales, has more EVO entrants than Mortal Kombat 11. So it's pretty crazy how Samurai Showdown is definitely an insular FGC game. That was just made for FGC old farts who want to remember playing other fighting games.
It's also,
and Mortal Kombat 11 has less entrants, and that game sells like hotcakes. Everyone on Instagram plays Mortal Kombat 11.
They do. Every rapper I've ever like heard is playing Mortal Kombat. It's like every single one of them has tried it. Like what's it called? SamSho to me is like such a good side game at EVO. I've talked about that a lot, and I think a lot of people kind of agree. It's Samurai Showdown is the best. Like, I'm interested in playing BB Tag at EVO, but I want to play one other game. I've got 5 minutes. I'm going to learn SamSho. It's like that game, and the numbers support that theory. Like, the numbers for SamSho, it is absurd how high the crossover rate is for SamSho. It has like the highest crossover rate per like entry number.
But who's going to be a SamSho only player?
Exactly.
Like, what have you been doing for the past decade?
Yeah, right. Like, unless you're, I guess, an SNK fan, so you've been playing KOF. But even if you're a KOF fan, like, what else have you been playing? Right? There's probably other games that you've been dabbling in and stuff.
Right.
So yeah, SamSho, the numbers support that it is a big title for people to enter as a side game at EVO. And to be honest, I think it is like the perfect EVO side game. Like, I was saying on my stream, like, if I was an EVO competitor, I would probably enter SamSho as a side game, because if you know how to play fighting games, you have a chance to make it out of your pool in that game, I think. Like, it's definitely like I know what I'm doing with basics, so I can get pretty far kind of a game, you know?
It almost has as many entrants as Tekken. That is unbelievable to me. But what I really want to know is how many DQs are going to end up occurring in SamSho. Because
it also is new. It's a new game, so, you know, when you're signing up for EVO, it's like you sign up in like February and March and like that kind of time, April, right? That's when everybody signs up for EVO. So I think kind of at the time, the feeling of like, oh, SamSho is going to be a new game that's going to come out, so I'm going to sign up for it happened. And that's like, you know, a big reason why the numbers get bolstered. Anything that comes out close to EVO.
For DBFZ.
Yes, exactly. Last year, like, DBFZ at least had come out, but the game was so new that a lot of people were like, oh yeah, I'm sure I'll still be interested in DBFZ by EVO. And then by the time EVO comes around, maybe you're not interested anymore or whatever, right?
At final round, I think I got top 64 for DBFZ.
I forgot you played that game.
I went 0-2, and I think I got top 64 because my bracket, I just DQ'd my way to the top, baby, and then I lost the only 2 matches I played.
That is fucking sick.
I'm so proud.
So many DQs.
By the way, I was gonna say, on top of the topic of SamSho having a lot of entrants, don't they also have like a $30,000 pot bonus?
Pop bonus? Yeah, they announced a $30K pop bonus.
I'm pretty sure that's the main reason. I gotta be honest here. I mean, despite also the momentum of it being a new game, I think it's.
You think so?
The 30K pop bonus got announced mad late though.
It was like after. It was like after registration was almost over. Unless you're a top player.
It wasn't the thing where. So, do we have like the numbers before and after that announcement? Did anybody like tweet about that? Because I thought it was a thing where it was like, oh, 30K, and then people just fucking went.
I'm willing to bet that it influenced less than 100 entrants.
No one thinks we're going to win SamSho. That's like 5 people, right? Who actually play SamSho? Like at that level. Like, a few people are actually really, really grinding that game at a competitive level. I think it's mostly new game effect where people just want to play a fighting game for fun, and it's new.
I wanted to call
good for them, of course, but I don't think this is going to boost the entrance that much.
It's like the game for the ghosts of pro players past. Like anybody who's lost a game these recent years have found peace in Samurai Showdown.
Don't you mean
that's taking up the mantle?
Isn't that Street Fighter V, a game for the OGs, where only OGs with true footsies can win?
Bro, you guys are laughing now. When Graham Wolf wins Samurai Showdown, you motherfuckers are gonna be rolling in your fucking grave.
He's coming back, dude. I think Graham Wolf is making a comeback. You know what's funny? I haven't seen Killer Kai in such a long time, and he came out of the woodwork practicing Samurai Showdown the other day. When Rynge and I were working the online qualifier, we're like, what the hell? He's like, yeah, dude, this is like the best game ever. I immediately looked around. I'm like, did anyone else hear that?
When he said that, was he holding his chin like this? You know how Killer Kai, he can't speak without grabbing his chin and nodding.
It was the thing where he hunches over, puts his, like, really, really old man status, puts his hands on his hips, like, yeah.
I've seen that before, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
that
it.
Shit is good.
I think that's always so funny when people talk about new fighting games being the best. It's because the games haven't been figured out yet, so everyone's relying on a few fundamental aspects of fighting games that cross over between almost every title. But then once people actually figure out the game, they're all bullshit.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened with Street Fighter V. I'm sure it's what happened with Street Fighter 4 for a bit.
Dude, they're breaking the game
People
mad
just
fast
love games when the meta is undeveloped, and especially a game that has less people playing it, the meta will be undeveloped for longer, so you're going to get away with actually sucking at the game and just being good at fundamentals. And then when people crack the game, you're going to realize that every game sucks.
Even the gimmicks, like in the beginning, you don't even have that fundamentals. If you find a good gimmick in the beginning and people don't know how to punish it, just running some cheap offense for the first like week and a half is so fun. How many people do you know that I've known so many people like this where I'll see them at like a local or I'll see them around, I'm like, hey, what up? And they're like, oh, I'm playing X or Y game. I love it. It's my favorite fighting game ever. It's so good. I'm like, oh, sick. And I see them a month later and they're like, yeah, I don't really play anymore. And I'm like, what happened? You, like, a month ago, this was your favorite thing ever. And they're like, yeah, you know, like, it's just, I didn't literally like the way it, like, this character's so cheap. They never say, you know, it turns out that the game is not as interesting as I thought. And I didn't realize in the beginning that X or Y strategy was going to be as degenerate as it turned out to be. It's always X or Y character is so stupid. Or, you know, it's never like the real reason that they don't enjoy the game, which is like the way the game, what's it called? The game loop is like frustrating or uninteresting to them. It's always, yeah, that character's stupid.
There's always like 2 learning curves with fighting games. There's the initial learning curve where you're completely brand new and it's all fun and games because you're not invested in it, and you might be winning by being a scrub or you're losing but you're still having fun, and then you hit that wall where suddenly you're invested to the point where your performance actually matters, and that's when you know if you like a fighting game or not. I don't care how much fun you're having on this first initial curve. If you don't hit that point and you drop off and you say, this shit, I'm getting my ass beat, am I going to step up and make it happen or not? If you can't get past that second curve, you don't like the fighting game.
It's exactly like that.
Phase. That's exactly it. It's the honeymoon phase of fighting games.
It is so true. And it happens with every single fighting game because, as you say, every fighting game has bullshit, right? And whatever the bullshit is in that game, like it's relative to the game that it's in, how crazy or fucked up the bullshit is. Every game has it, and everybody will learn it. And if you're not invested into the game and like really serious about learning it, you don't keep up with the bullshit that's coming out. So then there's that feeling of like you don't know all the shit that's going on. And if you want to make it to that level and start competing with these people, you have to learn all that shit. You can't just rely on what you're doing anymore. And you're like, oh, fuck. Now it's not fun anymore because that character's cheap. When the real reason is, well, now I actually have to like spend some time developing and this other stuff to catch up with people and like learn the game. It's like not just, oh, this character's stupid.
Yeah.
Fighting games are you know, it takes some effort, man. You can't just putt around for a little while and then be like,
think
all
some
right.
people just like scrub stomping.
It does feel, yeah, it feels good.
When they have real competition, they're like, "Up, I'm done."
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It weeds out the real loyalists, or at least those who are willing to put in the work. And
Dude, Hanzo
really show
Gonzo, man.
the
Every
game
time a fighting game comes out, Hanzo is #1 on the leaderboards within the first day. And every
Crazy,
single
by the
time.
way.
This guy Hanzo just beats up all these new players by mashing on his shitty connection.
I used to study his Nikali. He bodied me in the Nikali mirror a bunch of times when Street Fighter V
Jesus.
came out.
I'm sure he did.
I think I finally beat Hanzo in a set, and that was like, you know, a notch on my belt. I was like, hell yeah, fucking Gonzo. I finally beat Gonzo.
Yeah, this
in a
stupid
ring
mother-
match online.
He's a week
First to
one
one.
monster, dude.
Dude, week
he's
one.
like that with every game. He's even like that in card games as well.
Yes, he was
He's
#1 on
crazy.
Gwent, right?
Yeah, he was #1 in Gwent for like a week straight. He was like beating all the streamers for Gwent also. They're like, who the fuck is this guy? They're like trying to study his deck, but it's literally counters to all the top streamers' decks.
Yep. He's a fucking bitch.
He had #1 at KOF 14 within like 6 hours or some shit.
I'm
It
sure
was
he
definitely
did.
What a nuisance. He's definitely not going to get top 6 in any of these games. But hey, so we already talked about the EVO lineup, our kind of like expectations for like numbers and how it's going to fill up the arena. Do we have any expectations towards like the players in their respective communities? I know Brian F and I are mostly Street Fighter 5. Sajam, Rynge, you guys have any sort of predictions on who's going to take some of the games that you guys are well known for, or at least commentate often or study often?
Well,
So I'm not gonna expect Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I haven't studied any of that. Really.
probably a French player for Soul Calibur because the French are
I'm
beasts.
rooting for Kayane because it's the only person I know.
The French are beasts at Soul Calibur. Like, that's one thing to know about them. And they're going to have Friday finals, so I'm sure the Soul Calibur people will fill you in on that. UNIST is going to be really great because it's the first time a lot of the Japanese players have come over. So the storyline for UNIST is basically, well, Clear Lamp always comes over and he fucks everybody up, but he's not even like the best player in Japan. So this huge section of Japanese players are coming to EVO for UNIST. So are all these Japanese players just going to dunk the Americans, or do people like Red Blade or Squish or whoever have a chance against them, right? Like, how's that going to go? Dragon Ball is going to be a tight tournament. It should be so good, especially considering we had that last-minute registration by Wawa in the bracket, and everybody's kind of grinding again because there was a little while where, you know, last year Kazunoko was a beast into the finals this year. Then his game plan became a little solved, I think. Like, the way he plays is a little solved, and I don't think he's kind of adapted in the same way a lot of the other players have. So we have, like, Goichi crushing it, Fenrich crushing it, and then we have Sonic Fox, who finally, like, started playing again. And for a while there, he looked kind of jank. Like, he looked like Sonic Fox from, like, 6 months ago. It was like, oh, I've been playing Mortal Kombat. Let me jump on Dragon Ball and, like, play. But now he looks great. Like, so I think the finals for Dragon Ball should be good, as always. I don't know if Rynge has any feelings about it.
Yeah, I'm very glad to see Sonic putting more time into Dragon Ball again. At Defend the North, he looks like prime Sonic Fox, like able to take out anybody in the world. So if he brings that to the table at EVO, it's definitely going to be a fun tournament. It's going to be a fun tournament regardless, just because the competition is insane. I mean, Japan always comes out in full force, but it's even more so because it's EVO, right? So we're going to even have like the tier 1.5 players that you don't get to see as much traveling out there at EVO. And then Goichi, I mean, that's really the story when it comes to Dragon Ball Fighters this year, right? Is anybody going to be able to stop Goichi? Last year, he started off the game dominant, but then he kind of fell off towards the rise of Kazunoko and all that, right? But this year, nobody has taken that throne from him coming into EVO. So I'm very interested to see if anybody can actually do it at the biggest tournament.
Yeah,
How many
especially
events does
because
he have under his belt going into EVO, by the way?
He's won NCR, Final Round, Combo Breaker, and CEO.
yes,
Woo!
and also versus fighting.
Woo!
And versus fighting, yeah.
That is
Yeah.
amazing.
That's all of them. That's like winning every single premiere for Street Fighter V.
Yeah, essentially, like, he has really just crushed it. And the thing is, last year when he wasn't playing and Kaz was having a lot of success, Goichi was hurt. Like, he actually had an injury, so he stepped back and didn't play really until the finals, where he came back and got like third, and he's been playing a lot since then. Third? That sounds right. Yeah, third, I think.
Yeah, he got
So he's been playing a lot again, and he looks awesome. Also, on the topic of UNIST, somebody was asking, I think there's actually a decent chance that no American players make top 8 in UNIST. That's like not an unlikely situation there. So I think it's going to be one of those games.
Blade, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those games where like one American slides in on losers and gets 7th. Everybody's like USA, US. So like it's like one of those kind of.
Die, man.
Yeah, I hate that chant. So yeah, Dragon Ball should be tight. SamSho, who the fuck knows, right? Like I don't know what to expect in that game.
Justin Wong.
My money is on Infiltration.
Yeah, honestly.
The mysterious masked man.
Yep, I can say it for SamSho.
You can say it for SamSho. If we talk about Street Fighter, you got to call him Voldemort. He who must not be named. You can't use it.
So yeah, there's Infiltration. There's Justin, but Justin, who was very favorited coming in, just lost to Chris G right at Defend the North. Chris G, obviously another one of those multi-game monsters, just picks up fighting games so quickly.
Dude, he could win SamSho. If he won, I would not be surprised. I'd be like, yeah, I guess. Sure.
You got like Kazunoko, who's been playing the game a little bit as well.
Oh, he's actually. I immediately retract my statement that if Kazunoko is grinding the game, I'm going for him automatically.
Kazunoko, he's a real bitch, I'll tell you what. I watch him play SamSho, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, man.
Perfect.
Every button is a 50-50. You block a medium and you're -12, and then Kazunoko's like, what's good, bitch? And I'm like, oh, God, it's fucking... Is he going to cancel into an uppercut? Is he going to fucking... It's like, Jesus, this
That's
motherfucker.
just in his nature. He finds the most broken shit and abuses it as much as possible. And on top of that, every time he plays someone good, he finds a way to refine that broken strategy and make it like the staple or like the meta with that character.
5-minute SamSho Kazunoko could be an EVO champion for sure. I wouldn't be... If he doesn't make top 8, I'd be pretty surprised, I feel like. 5-minute Kazunoko SamSho, I like him. He's got a great chance. So SamSho, who the fuck knows? Mortal Kombat should be dope. Mortal Kombat should be... Yeah, who the fuck knows, honestly. Mortal Kombat should be dope. Like, I can't wait for MK. Sonic is obviously Sonic Fox in Mortal Kombat, but there's other contenders, like people like Dragon, people like Scar. There's like really, really, really talented Mortal Kombat players that are getting closer and closer. And you have so many good players that have beaten Sonic and stuff, like even people like Gur. Like, we have players like Deoxys who are really good, Hayate, like Foxy.
He's already bled in this game, right? Scar did beat him at Combo Breaker, so exactly. He has...
And I don't think actually Ninja Killa is going to EVO, which is really unfortunate. I heard that like he didn't have money or something. I was like, I wish I would have known. I'd have flown his ass there. I would have fucking collected that shot. I'd have been like, Hoop Squad, fucking Ninja Killa, come through. That guy is so ridiculously incredible and talented. It's crazy. So yeah, Mortal Kombat.
I think community funding's at an all-time high. He's like super one of the players that would have got it for free if he did.
Oh yeah, he is incredibly good. Like, it's absurd how good he is. So. Yeah, Mortal Kombat, I feel like, as always, if you've watched NRS games before, most of the names you'll recognize. It'll be very similar. And I think the game is fun to watch. I think it has cool, big moments, and it should be exciting, to be honest with you. Shit should be good. As for Sunday games, BB Tag, I have no idea.
No clue. I'm looking to ask some of the other commentators about that.
Can I ask a Mortal Kombat question real quick? Is this the first tournament with, what's his name? Shang Tsung?
So, Mortal Kombat doesn't allow DLC characters for 1 month after they come out. So, this will be the first Pro Tour competition event that has Shang Tsung allowed.
Nice.
And so, Shang Tsung as a character, like, if you think about the tier list where, like, this up here is, like, Jackie, Cassie, Sonya, maybe Garrus, like, whoever else, right? Shang Tsung is probably, like, here. He is a very, very strong character, and he has really good zoning. He's, like, an excellently well-rounded character, good normals, good like plus frames, solid zoning. He's a very strong character, and there's a few people who have a pocket Shang that we'll probably see at EVO. I don't think he'll be like Tanya or like some other NRS DLC character where he comes through and cleans up, but he's pretty good.
Is there a huge difference between his like variations? Just kind of off topic. Just
curious. His warlock variation 1 is the best one. That's the one that has the up skulls and it has the body drop. The corpse drop is one of the best projectiles in the game.
Broken. Not broken, but it's very, very strong.
Corpse drop, you guys will see it at EVO if you watch Shang Tsung. He literally summons. He's a necromancer, so he just summons a dead body from the air and it falls on you.
And it can explode if he hands it.
Yeah, it's one of the highest damaging projectiles in the game, and because it comes down vertically, it beats jumps if it hits you on the way, and you can aim it on the screen. So it's extremely good. And it's an overhead.
Projectile parries like Aaron Black's and stuff too.
It does.
It comes from this.
Jesus.
Also an overhead attack. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Right, now moving on to Street Fighter 5. By the way.
Yeah, because I don't think
BB Tag. We just don't know.
I have no idea. BB Tag will be over in 30 minutes.
If you have somebody in mind, Brian, please let us know.
BB Tag, I'll watch, but you know.
In my spare time, I'm watching all the anime games. You guys know me.
Yeah, I know you're a big fan. You're Koahime,
right
dude.
Now. Why do you think I haven't been chiming in this whole time?
When Koahime shows up at EVO,
Million Arthur.
This guy, Brian F's gonna be the Koahime EVO champion. What else?
Anyway. No input on BB Tag, Brian. All right, cool.
I have none.
Street Fighter 5.
Street Fighter 5. Yeah, the only thing I can call for Street Fighter 5 is Machibo's making top 8.
Yeah, I think him and Bonchan are safe picks.
Agree.
I think Tokido's gonna lose in top 16.
I could see it. I think like what's interesting is that we could see both him and Punk outside of top 8, despite how good of a year they've had. I think that's not unlikely. Bonchan and Machibo have performed so well this year, and I feel like if there's a year Bonchan's making it back to EVO Finals, this is definitely his year. He's played like a fucking monster this season.
Their consistency, Machibo and Bonchan, is kind of through the roof. Machibo hasn't quite won, besides one of the stacked rankings, and I forgot which one it was. But Bam, yeah. So he won a very stacked ranking, but he's made top 8 almost every premiere that he's attended, from my memory, and yeah, I think his consistency is on par with Bonchan's. Just Bonchan's managed to close out. Yeah, so I think those two for top 8 is a pretty good call. But other than that, Street Fighter 5, there's just too much
My
competition.
dream.
Punk is doing incredible, of course. I think he's in form again, so he's a good call to go on a good run. But I wouldn't be surprised if Punk's the only American in top 8.
Yeah.
I think the meta is moving past most of the American players. It's pretty much going back to the Karen, the Punk, Ibuki, Rashid, and we don't quite have people rocking those characters on that level in America besides Punk. We have a lot of solid Rashid players, but they're not quite on the same level as the Gachi Kuns and the John Takeuchis. But they could have a good run. But yeah, I think the meta has kind of moved past what America is picking, and Punk is like the one who's the best and also playing.
What's interesting is I actually think that this is this like bracket, as you say, like, and you talk about the way the game's playing is past a lot of the US players. I'm kind of with you. Like, I think besides maybe like a few people, there's not that many players picking up these cheap characters again that are like really good in this version of the game, right? Like, we don't have as many high-level Bisons, Rashids, Ibukis as like Asia does. Those characters are super common there. You see them a lot. Even like Bison, I guess the best Bison player is not from Asia, right? He's he's from Europe, but like those characters are so good in this version. Even G, like we have G with Strider, right? But like maybe he doesn't have the results maybe that are as high as some of them at other tournaments, even though he's probably the highest ranked G on CPT rankings, I would guess.
Yeah, by far. I think I just don't think G is a solo win premier kind of character. I think G is definitely the most unstable top tier character. Super strong, but he still gets mauled, still has to deal with some matchups, but he's also in that tier of I can make you flip a coin and still rob you and make a run even in the face of bad matchups. Yeah. So he's just not consistent. Like the other characters like Rashid, Akuma, Karen, they can force you to guess without taking risk.
G needs to take the risk. And the problem is when the coin flips are on his side, he is so devastating. But it can obviously easily go the other way, right? He's definitely one of those characters.
Right.
For sure.
Why not just play Rashid, where you're constantly forcing low risk guess for medium reward? Or zero risk for the most part against some members of the cast. A lot of these characters that are in the top tier are not taking any risk where the rest of the characters are, and that's the archetype that the top players of Japan and Asia and Problem X also are. Those people are flocking to those characters, or they kind of just landed on them in the beginning and got lucky, and they just capitalized on that. Where I think America was kind of all over the place in terms of character selection and didn't really get with the ship while it was setting sail, and so.
I definitely have a dream for the finals, though, which is Bonchan Fudo, and Fudo picks Birdie, and Bonchan goes to Sagat and smokes him. That would be so sick. I just want to see that match in the finals. That would be sick.
Yes,
just so we can say Sagat won EVO, even though he plays Karen in like every other matchup. There's like 4 matchups he plays Sagat.
Y'all talking about Bonchan a lot, and obviously his results have been super impressive, right? But I gotta give a shout out to FGC Translated, because a lot of his studying that has been translated on YouTube and Twitter and stuff has been blowing my mind. Like, it's so cool to see how much he's been paying attention to Street Fighter V and the meta, and exactly what he's doing to change his game that has led to this success. And it's all been documented.
It's been really cool.
Bridging the gap between the Western and Japanese Street Fighter communities. I think we talked about him before in this. So many little tidbits of wisdom that all these gods of Street Fighter are dropping that he kind of sums up in little digestible bite-sized nuggets that you can just go through whenever you want. So if you haven't checked, if you're a Street Fighter fan or a fighting game fan in general, you should definitely check out his channel.
Remember on this podcast, I talked about how if you want, like, you know, there's a lot of opportunities to still make content and still do things in fighting games that haven't been explored. And somebody was like, well, you know, there's all these known people that are taking, you know, doing this stuff anyway. And I was like, what about Hi-Fi, dude? Hi-Fi just appeared out of nowhere. And everybody's like, who the fuck is Hi-Fi? This guy's the best. And now he's got 40,000 followers on Twitter. And he works with Capcom. And he's done social media stuff, like all this stuff, right? And then you look at, like, Core Gaming. Like, people didn't know who he was. He makes incredible stuff. FGC Translated appeared one day. And now is an extremely talked about and common, like, you know, everybody brings them up like, oh, do you watch FGC translated stuff? Oh, it's so good. I was watching this video with Bonchan on Topanga talking about Punk's medium punch and making this funny face. It's great. Like, yeah, like, these people just appear because there's a demand for this content. Nobody else is making it. One day, FGC Translator woke up and was like, you know what? Somebody should do this. I guess I'll do it. And now is, like, an extremely popular content creator because of it, right?
You feel the much needed gap that a lot of people have been desiring for so long, right? I mean, we've all wanted to pick the brains of these top foreign players that we have that language barrier with, and now we've actually found some way to.
Yeah.
Did he cut off towards the end, or was that just me?
I heard him.
Okay.
I think your mic and shit is trash, bro. You need to. I don't know what kind of glowing gamer gear you're working with over there, but that shit's not working.
It's actually a HyperX Quadcast, Steve. Thanks, man.
Is it?
Appreciate you.
Whatever.
Sure is.
What are those headphones?
It's a HyperX headphone, by the way.
Oh, I got like
Thanks,
shitty $10 speakers and a Yeti, and everything sounds great on my end.
Aren't you on a billboard for HyperX? What are you even?
I am actually. They
doing your shilling right now.
Bro, hold up.
I bought this equipment straight from Steve's house.
This is HyperX right here. I love HyperX. That being said, I don't know what kind of weird ass glowing gamer gear setup you got, bro. That shit is fucked up. You gotta fix it.
I showed it to you. I literally just showed it to you.
They had that sponsorship email drafted up right now and backspace key for each.
I love HyperX. Look, you calling a moron, you stupid bitch. I see you in the chat, Jeremy. Trying to talk shit. You got your HyperX keyboard?
I do have a HyperX keyboard, Steve. I do have a HyperX keyboard, you idiot.
Me too.
Oh my God! Hey, thanks for joining us on the show, Steve. We're gonna have Anton replace you for the next one. We're just gonna have to borrow your stream key, and we're gonna go ahead and do the show without you. We appreciate your patronage and your longtime support. That'll be it for the show.
That reminds me, HyperX is doing an event post EVO. They haven't announced who's commentating it. I have no idea who's commentating it.
It's not you anymore, that's for sure.
They haven't announced the talent yet, and you know how it is. They always have to announce the talent. I am completely in the dark about how it's going to be. They didn't send me a run of show about all the plans for what's going to happen today or anything, but I'm sure that the show will be really good when it goes out. And I don't know who's doing it. I can't guess. If I could, I would say probably like Tasty Steve, D1, TK, and myself. But that would, I don't know, maybe when they reach out to us, we'll have more information. That'd be the Monday after EVO happening at the HyperX Esports Arena, if you guys are curious and you want to check it out. I'm not sure who's doing it, but if I get more information, I'll let you guys know.
Sweet, thanks, man.
Sajam for commentary. We could do that.
When I get more information, I'll let everybody know, you know? It's just how it works. It's just like everybody in my chat for the last week and a half straight has been asking who's doing EVO commentary, and I've always replied with EVO announces their commentators themselves every year, so I don't know. I'll let you guys know what I know when EVO announces.
That's how it be.
All right. We didn't get through the rest of the games, by the way.
Oh shit, yeah, Tekken 7. You know how it is. It should be great, as always. There'll probably be an American or two. I think the favorites to make it in for the USA this year is probably Anakin and Jimmy again, actually. Those two I think are usually the favorites for the US. They've been playing really well. Anakin in particular is on a hot streak. Combo Breaker second place. The way he played at CEO, the way he played at WSOE last weekend, right? Beating JDCR for the first time ever. As soon as he walked into my house, this guy was fucking pissed. He's like, I can't believe I lost to Anakin. I've never lost him. It was the first time I've lost him. He was like, man. So, yeah, I think that they have a good chance. I think there's a bunch of US players that have a pretty good chance, actually. And obviously, can anybody defeat Knee? That is like the question, right? Can anybody stop this motherfucker? He is just that dangerous, that good. He has so many characters under his belt. He's a monster.
Is he truly inevitable?
Is he truly inevitable?
Well, we saw the Thanos hand is.
Yeah, he had the gauntlet and he snapped at CEO. So this is like now somebody else has got to show up and they got to steal it from him, you know? So I don't know. We'll see.
We're talking about Arslan Ash, of course. Definitely very interested to see how he does at EVO. Going to be a gigantic tournament. It's always different for people, right, when it comes to EVO because of just how abundant the numbers are.
Yeah, EVO should be wild. I can't wait. Tekken should be dope. Tons of entrants. The arena environment should be incredible if you're going to go there. Even if you're at home, tune into Tekken 7, you motherfuckers. You better watch it.
We just need to move Tekken 7's EVO tournament to Pakistan. We're going to go on the World Warrior.
Yes.
Bro.
Move Tekken 7 only to Pakistan.
Yeah, just have a simultaneous broadcast. We jump over it. Now we return to our broadcast live in Pakistan.
One more thing about Tekken is that this is Kudon's registered, right? And we haven't seen Kudon since the Saudi Arabia tournament where he won a bunch of money. So that
he won a fortune and then was like, fuck it, I'm not going to any TWT events. He just disappeared. So Kudon's has not gone anywhere, I think, since then. And also, didn't he have like, he was teasing like a new sponsor or something? I don't even know if that's like been announced or whatever, but I know he was like, I have some, just like the return of Kudon's or something. And everybody was like, all right, well, shit. Let's see it.
I'm excited.
Maybe it's HyperX.
Yeah, maybe he'll be joining the unannounced talent at that event after you.
You know what I'm saying?
It's going to be announced at the HyperX esports arena.
I don't know if he's on the list. Let me look.
Jesus Christ. Fired again.
I'm fired or you're fired?
Both.
You're fired.
You're fired. Going on to Smash Brothers. I'm going to take the wheel on this one. I do like MK Leo. He's had an absolute killing since Ultimate came out. I think his lowest ranking was, I think it was in like it says Umebura Japan, blah blah blah, Japanese Major 2019. He placed 33rd, but I think there might have been like a slight mishap where he missed pools, because if you look at the rest of his rankings, he's within the top 8 every single time, getting a shit ton of first place rankings in every single event, and not only just for 1v1s but for 2v2s as well. So I'm pretty sure we're gonna see MKLeo within the top 3, if not taking the entirety of Smash Ultimate at EVO.
Yeah, I think he has a great chance. He's like the #1 seed, right? I think like him and Tweak are like the 2 players people will talk about the most. What a name, by the way. I think people talk about those 2 the most right. When it comes to Smash Ultimate. When I watch tournaments, I always see them in like the top 8 of everything. So
yeah, Tweak was the most dominant player when the game first came out, and he just won a recent event in Texas. I forgot the name. Low Tier City 7, I believe, was the event. But I think MK Leo is definitely the most consistent throughout the lifespan of Ultimate so far. Tweak had a few like tournaments where he bowed out in like top 32 and losing to some upsets. I think Wizzy happened to beat him in that event, and Smash and Splash where Wizzy got top 8 in both Melee and Ultimate.
Yeah.
So I definitely can see both of them going far. But all I know is I'm rooting for my boy Elegant. He's the only top Luigi player that I know of in Smash Ultimate, and I just want to see
fucking
Luigi
would play Luigi.
do 0 to death combos and more people in top 8.
I watched you do that combo, and it was I honestly was like, all right, I'm gonna try this out myself. Honestly, doing 0 to death combos with Luigi is the most fun thing on a Smash controller. It's
well, yeah,
so
I was learning the game so I could play Luigi and grab people, kill them instantly, and they nerfed the combo, and then I just stopped playing.
It's only possible
what
on
the hell.
Yeah, but it's still, you can still do it. It's just a little bit harder.
Yeah, there's a different variation, but you know those games are actually really complex. You have to play so much to understand the routes and DI and whatever nonsense. You can't just learn the combo and do it.
Yeah.
So at that point, they nerfed my main route, and I was like, all right, well, that was fun trolling people online with that.
Yeah,
Later.
you can't option select where people with the route. You can't option select where people are gonna plan a DI. So that really sucks. You know,
if I land a grab, I deserve to kill you in 1 hit. That's how
I got trolled offline by this guy up here, Vicious, with the freaking Luigi.
Yeah, I can't believe it.
That was week one. That was week one.
Of course, Luigi.
That's why I said launch Luigi, bro.
Trash. Dr. Mario's way cooler than Luigi anyway. I'll just throw that out there. Dr. Mario's tight.
He's all right. He doesn't have Flood. I like Flood on Mario.
Flood is cool, yeah. Actually, Sunshine is, I think, my favorite Mario game, to be honest.
Yes. Sunshine is definitely the best Mario game.
I think it's mad good. Although I haven't played Odyssey, which a lot of people seem to love, so.
Oh, man.
It's actually great, yeah.
The official Super Mario World 2? Yo, I'm telling you.
I thought you were going to say the official Mario sponsorship of Afternoon Tea. I was like, hold up. Did you negotiate while I was gone? The fuck? We have HyperX and Mario? That was a good-ass sponsor.
Mario's invading everything, dude.
The official games. We can only talk about Mario on this podcast. We're going to do Wave Dash and the fucking Plumber Upper. That shit's going to be sick.
Plumber Upper.
Yeah, that shit's gonna be good. All right, we talked about EVO. What's next on the plate? We gotta go faster. We talked about EVO for an hour.
Hey, it deserves the spotlight, man. It's the most wondrous time of the year.
EVO should be dope.
You want to talk about? You kind of mentioned this earlier. Cross-up fights. No, actually, let's go into Street Fighter League. Let's talk about the joystick afterwards.
Sure.
Let's talk about Street Fighter League. We're going into season 2 of the league. The voting phase is happening right now. I don't even know when it ends, but we have some good amount of candidates.
Yeah, so
the link.
Voting, the way voting works is top 4 make it in, is the way voting works on this thingamajig. And right now, the top 6 is very, very close.
Since we started this podcast, the order, the placings have actually changed a little bit. So that tells you how close it is since we've just been talking for an hour.
I think I can pull up.
Oh, it did. Yeah, Tommy's two-step bumped up a spot over Emizu.
I think I can pull up the current standings on stream. It's going to mess up our faces temporarily. Give me a second, chat room.
It's top 4 in the standings make it to the Street Fighter League Season 2.
Yeah, so this is the current situation with where the voting is at for everybody at home. So top 4 make it in. It ends at midnight tonight. You can vote for free with Twitter. So if you guys have a Twitter, you can use the nominate button. And currently the standings is Automatic, Guilty, Sherry, Tommy Two-Step, Amizi, and Sabin, Arturo. It's very close between these. And then afterwards, when you go down to Marine with Apuma Pant, you're down at 2,900 vote nominations instead of 4,000. So, yeah, this is all very, very close. So if you want to get in on the voting, now is an excellent time.
And only the top 4 get in is the way the format is working now. It's just been interesting to see how extending this from, well, it's twofold. I think a lot of people were very tentative about even what the hell Street Fighter League was in Season 1, so a lot of people didn't either opt to get into the voting, or if they did, they just didn't put any effort into it. And also, this time it's actually a week-long event rather than during Final Round weekend for 2 days, and it happened before people even realized it was over. So it's been pretty interesting to see how everyone's been upping their campaign game. I mean, Sherry actually literally launched a political campaign effort to get low-tier Nikali into Street Fighter
What an
League.
absurd way to place that. Low tier Nikali is a crazy way to talk about that character. What kind of shit are you smoking? Although when she censored Machabo's names in the standing, that was pretty good. That made it worth the low tier. When she's scrolling down and talking about all the characters and Nikali is just blurred out in the back, that was pretty good. But as far as the standings go, we mentioned Amizi's in there. Amizi has 1.3 million YouTube subs and does a lot of animation stuff on YouTube. So a lot of people are like, where the fuck are these votes coming from? And that's where, right? So this is an interesting thing that we have here where the qualifications for making it into Street Fighter League are literally you played in one tournament on Smash EG. So Amizi's definitely done that because they were in Combo Breaker, I think, in another tournament. And I mean, you can just get in via the vote, right? Which is what's interesting about Street Fighter League, because Street Fighter League, has kind of a draft system, and this is the vote-in section. And the way Street Fighter League works with construction is these players will all be put in part of the draft. So everybody has a voted-in player that they can draft on for the 4 remaining teams besides the 2 teams that came back last time.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty interesting how much strife this has caused in the community, because I think we're really seeing the esports age come to fruition within the FGC, where people are giving opportunities. Just, it's a popularity contest is what it comes down to at the end of the day. And so it's pretty funny to see, especially if someone like Emizi, just a pure content creator, not even like a hybrid ex-competitive player who uses their knowledge to produce content to share with the community. I mean, that is just a YouTuber who draws. You can go ahead and click on his content. You know what he's about within 5 seconds of his first video.
The female characters are drawn.
Or the thumbnail.
So the thumbnail kind of gives it all away, right?
Yeah.
So if he actually just made it in, and if they do a proper draft system where the number 1 seed has to pick last, you're going to see the potential best team or best player have a pure content creator on their team who is not a competitive player. And the goal is at the end of the entire season, the winning team has to play the best from Japan, which is comprised of only competitive players, and the only qualification is winning. And they want to take those 2 teams and pit them against each other to say this is the best of the U.S. versus the best of Japan at the end of the season.
Crazy.
So there's a whole bunch of strife in the community about how this is all structured and what we value. And it's,
imagine like
opt into this one.
So the Street Fighter League teams, like, they had the arcade qualifiers where you could go to arcades and you'd play with your 3 teammates, offline in Japan and try to qualify. And then it led into the qualifiers last night where they had the tournament, right? And so like in the top 4, one of the teams was Machabo, Fujimura, and Johnny. That was like one of the teams that played it. That team lost, by the way. But like, to give you an example, that's the kind of team you're working with here, right? Like 3 players who are like top class CPT players from Japan trying to play in to get into Street Fighter League. And then in the US, it's like we have a voting system where it's popular vote to qualify you in to be one of the members on the team, because the US teams are structured by top CPT, candidate in NA, who is the captain, then player who qualifies in via playing in an online tournament, and voted in player. So the idea behind the teams in the US format is it's a nice spread of super high level player, very, very talented player, and then like community voted in player who could be anywhere from like super good CPT level player that didn't make it in via anything else, or someone who is, like you said, a content creator or whatever, right? So like you could have a team that is, one of the best players in the US, someone who made it in online who's a pretty good player and content creator, versus 3 of the best players in the world from Japan.
Yeah.
Like Tokido, Daigo, and Nemo versus Amizi. Who you guys like?
Right. I think this has been the story of Street Fighter League from the beginning. It seems like the US is just so scared or it just has no faith in just allowing the game to speak for itself in terms of entertainment value. So they've been trying to concoct some kind of system to stir up like reality TV show level genre to entertain people. I mean, that's how it began with the entire character banning system, right? It's just something purely anti-competitive to add some kind of spice to the mix to make people entertained. And then the voting system is just another layer on top of that, which, I guess you can debate how effective these formulas are, but it's really, really interesting to see now, especially since we have more info on the Japanese Street Fighter League, how they're not forced to jump through these hoops, and it's just competitive players entering versus how kind of there's a whole song and dance to the USA version of it all.
Yeah, it's so weird, right? Like the fact that the 2 things are like playing in a match at the end, you would think that the format would be the exact same, right? To like play in and everything like that, but the 2 are completely separated. It feels like a thing that was like, well, the US version is doing its US version thing and the Japan version is doing its Japan thing, and at the end Capcom was like, yeah, we'll just have them play. So it's like this unification match at the end of the year, which, even if, to be fair, I think like even if the format was the same for both or whatever, I think the Japanese team probably still has the advantage, right? Like that's not the argument I think we're getting at here. It's just funny that the way the teams are constructed is so different to qualify for the leagues.
Yeah.
I think also towards the end, I don't know if there's anything on the line when it comes to like the Japanese versus American exhibition. I think
there'll probably be a prize pool, right?
There's pride. We're gonna have Punk, MZ, and then who else? Other person, and this is the best of the US. And then they're gonna throw them against Tokido, Daigo, and Fudo. And then Punk beats 2 of them and loses, and then it's a wash.
And they ban Karen. So there'll be a ban in the beginning, so they ban Karen, and you're like, well, all right, here we go.
Yeah, it's just stupid. It's just stupid is what it is. If you really just want to think about it that way, it's just a dumb system. Don't merge them together or have the formats be exactly the same across them.
Yeah, the reason I said Dankadius there is because it has to be a vote-in player for their second player. So a play-in player for their second player, which the play-in players are Samurai, Mojo, Dank, and Idom. Yeah. So your options for the players who made it in via the qualifier are like obviously very strong. But your options via the vote-in is it's a vote-in, right? So it's going to be someone who got voted in by the community, which I think it's cool that like the people we have in the front right now are people who are well, like, followed and respect. Like people like Jibbo, right? Automatic is number 1 right now. I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
because he's a content creator, right?
He fucking deserves it, man.
Yeah, he plays first of all, he's actually a really useful asset for the team because he plays lots of
100.
characters. He makes lots of cool content. He's actually a very good player, right? So he's like a very strong player. He plays lots of characters. He makes great content for the community. So that's the thing is like, I don't think that the format is so bad for like the league itself. What I'm confused about is the play-in at the end, right? That's the part where it's like, and not only that, but you know, Street Fighter League this last season had a $30,000 prize winning for first place, right? $10,000 each player essentially is what it is. That's a lot of money for that. That's more than winning a premier event per person on the CPT, so it's pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I would agree with the main fact that it just seems odd that the American versus Japan match is planned for later on in the year when the two formats have different criteria in terms of building a team. Yeah, I think that's my biggest problem with everything.
Yeah, it should be like, maybe I feel like maybe the US version should like elect a team or something like to make it even. It just seems like it's like so like, oh man, who knows what's gonna happen?
It's setting up to be an embarrassing end. That's just all it is. It's going to be embarrassing at the end for everyone involved.
Yeah, the U.S. is going to get beat up by like whoever this team is probably. Just via the fun, like based on the way the teams are built, the Japan team will probably be stronger no matter what, right? So like that's just how it's going to work. So yeah, it's going to be like how the hell are they supposed to win this? And when the team construction is done in such different ways, you know.
And when you can contrast that to the whole format of Street Fighter League, I think they have this whole ban system and everything in place because they wanted to provide a mechanic to balance the teams out,
right? Where
you wouldn't have any one player stomping the teams. But even that, I mean, I think we've already discussed the bans in Season 1. I think that only just hurts people who aren't that good or who aren't on that level because Punk, Do, Justin, I mean, the number one players for the most part have any character they pick, they can beat someone who they're better than. Like you're mostly hurting character specialists, and most of the time the character specialists are people traveling the world and doing this for a living because unless you play Rashid or Akuma, you probably had to switch characters a few times to keep up with the meta. So none of it to me seems that well thought out in terms of balancing for having preventing a wash from occurring. But yeah, anyways, the other point I wanted to touch on was how just within the context of the USA voting system, you know, the people who are dominating this for the most part are content creators. And if you scroll down on the list, there's a lot of, you know, within the US top level competitors who aren't really doing that well in the running. Chakate, who just got second place to Defend the North,
was in SFL before.
Like
he was, Season 1. So.
Yeah, and he was in there before as well. And then there's if you go even further, Alex Myers, there's a Chris T in there somewhere down. You're scraping the bottom of the barrel, and then you keep going. There's names in here of people who have been Capcom Cup, won tournaments, and you know they're not really. Nephew is in there. I see Nephew was in there, did really well in Season 1. He has 25 nominations down at the bottom of page 2. So
and people at the top have 4,200 nominations each. Nephew, who's like one of the best U.S. players, has 25.
Exactly. He was a captain in Season 1. So it's pretty.
He was one of the top 6. Yeah, what you're saying is one of the top 6 players last year on the CBT ranking boards for the U.S. who is in Street Fighter League this year. One of the best calling players in the U.S. Incredible player, has 25 votes, and everybody else who at the top has over 4,000.
Right.
So I mean,
you need to, if you're a competitive player and you want to get these opportunities, you need to take notes on what these people are doing who are killing it in the voting. It's just, I think there's a lot of people who are kind of bitter about the reality of the situation, and maybe we shouldn't be awarding these type of opportunities based purely on popularity. But it's just, if you want to climb this FGC ladder and find some success, take notes.
Yep, you have to create content, build a brand, become bigger than just, you know, someone who's very good at games. There are exceptions, but yeah, this is just another example amongst many, right?
How would you kind of counter this system to improve on it, I guess, going forward then? If you know, this, it pretty much seems like a big popularity contest to a certain degree, but how would you go, like going forward, how would you kind of counter this to ensure
either have a requirement based on CPT points or previous tournament placing? Summit did it really well with DBFZ nominations. You had to have some kind of placing within a certain number of tournaments, and that's what, you know, that was the barrier for entry. They could have easily have implemented that here.
Yeah,
that would have
like the Dragon Ball Summit and the MK Summit
people.
Had like as you were saying, to like explain it for people who didn't see the voting, it was like you have to make top 16 or top 32 at certain events that are like stacked. There's like 3 or 4 of them. Besides the qualifiers, they also had to play in. So it was like, you know, if you go to Texas Showdown, which is like one of the early Dragon Ball events, and you make top 16 or whatever, or top 32, you can put yourself in via the nominations. So yeah, it's just based on like the events that like come up, and like, you know, instead of just have you entered and played in a Street Fighter tournament on Smash GG, which like, you know, anytime you could have played in 2016 in a tournament and you'd be on Smash GG, you know, playing on a tournament, so you'd just be qualified.
Yeah, I'm sure Lupe Fiasco has entered a tournament before too.
He has. He'd be qualified for this, actually. He played in Combo Breaker.
And that would be amazing for Street Fighter League, actually. So
yes,
maybe there's a reason they're hoping they saw some of the names on Smash GG. They're like, maybe we can lure somebody back here to boost these ratings a bit. But yeah, there's definitely ways they could limit this if they actually cared about making this more about having strong competition and competitive integrity. But it's just clear that that's not a priority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, you know, when you ask like, what do you want to fix about it? It's like, well, I think like it's probably working as they intended, right? Like, I think that like Capcom clearly wants the vote-in player to be someone who is like community based and like someone who's popular, and maybe not even like, they don't even care if it's like a top CPT level player, right? They want other people inside of like SFL for whatever reason, which is like, that seems to be the intention. If that's what they want to do, like,
I don't know if
it's
working though. I don't think it's entertaining when people just go out and get stomped. It's not fun.
No.
And also the way they film it and everything. It's not. They're not. If they care about personality and community people, they would put more effort in the production to be able to highlight those aspects, which they definitely did in season 1. So maybe they'll make more attempts in that in season 2. But if you got voted in and you lose, you mostly just walk up there and lose. They only interview the winner. They often only interview the team captain. It's in a very, like, the studio itself was a lot more stale. A lot of the community aspect of it was happening outside the studio, where you heard a lot of the interaction between the players, which wasn't captured that much. So it's like they're halfway doing this kind of reality TV show, happy fun time thing, but then they just show people getting stomped.
Yeah, I think like the feeling that they, like, even the way it's shot is like very, as you mentioned, the studio and everything, it's shot in a very like professional environment. Like, this is Street Fighter League, the professional like Street Fighter player kind of like environment, like the way it's shot and everything. If you want it to be like more community based and feel a little bit more like that, I don't even think you can. The way the studio setup needs to change, right? And like, as you said, you need to interview more people. Even having like microphones for like the players to come up and interact with people and stuff like that. It's definitely shot in a very like, hello, me and, you know, Vicious and Steve are here to introduce you guys on Street Fighter League. We're going to get into a very serious match. Team Inferno is going to play Team Gale. All right, let's check it out. Like, it's a very serious kind of way they even frame that. Yeah, that's true.
The studio is just not physically comfortable for the audience of the players to sit in. Yeah. So there was areas for us to sit in and watch, but it's not like we were mic'd up or anything.
Right. And you guys are just huddled behind your team, right?
Yeah, it physically wasn't comfortable. There's a few stools on the side. There's no couch in there for us to chill and be like, whoa, like we're reacting to what's going on. We're talking shit with each other. We're engaging with the rest of the people while we're watching. You know, it just wasn't formatted that way. If you want an example of that, just look up any of the Red Bull Conquest 3v3 events they did for Street Fighter V when they had the pure 3v3, not like the cross game thing.
Yeah.
Red Bull hit the nail on the head. First of all, they limited it to only regions, so you had some kind of camaraderie with your team. It wasn't a pure draft system where people were picking who they wanted to win with. It was, we are in this together. We are from this region. We were on the grind together, and now we're going to go fuck up everybody else from the rest of the country, right? So you had the camaraderie built in. It was in a relaxed environment where we're all playing casuals behind while everyone else is there. We're able to stand next to our teammates. There's couches everywhere. It's just more relaxed.
The way it's shot and set up is different too. Yeah,
exactly.
Like that's important.
So that's what they wanted to go for, I think, with having this system. But then when we show up to the studio, it's like, all right, line up in your uniforms and try to win.
Even if you think about like the way Summit is, you know, like Summit used to be at a house, right? Which is why the Summit environment was so relaxed. And it's since in like the last like 6 months or so moved to a studio. The Summit is in a studio now. But even when you watch Summit, the studio is set up like a house, right? Like there's like an upstairs that you can walk into. Like there's like a kitchen in the background. There's a couch set up. So yeah, even the way that's set up is like very clearly designed to make it feel like a comfortable environment where people are hanging out and playing as a team and like, or what, you know, whatever it is, right? Via like that kind of set is important compared to like SFL, which is just like a very like flat, like two teams play here, commentators in the middle, everybody else get off the camera shot, right? Like it's like a very, all right, we're shooting the show. Everybody get out of the way, we're shooting a show. We're shooting Street Fighter League. We got to do this real quick.
So I got a question because Brian, you mentioned what was it? So about having like prerequisites for qualifying for the tournament, right? So you make sure that it's all like top players and people that are very good. But also, Sajam mentioned that they think SFL is working because they're highlighting people that are content creators or just community figures that are not necessarily the best players, right? Mm-hmm. So how do we highlight those people without like making them on the competitive SFL teams? Like that's what I think we need to figure out.
Yeah, I just think they're going halfway with both. The environment is not comfortable. It's a stiff esports environment, but they're bringing on people who they want to highlight their personality. So they're just kind of going in between both, and they're not committing to either or. They need to make the filming of it more organic and natural. And I think a lot of those moments where we were outside the studio and the patio area, and we were watching it from a monitor. We're all joking with each other, talking. They could have captured more of those moments and cut to us, or had that environment in the studio itself, so we didn't have to be separated from it. Quiet on set. Shh, keep it down. We're filming here. So they just didn't really format it in a way when I was there to really capture that vibe. And that's my concern with them doing this community vote thing like this is I totally understand what they're going for, and I think that could be a good thing, of course. Just capitalize on what you're doing. If you're gonna make MZ get nominated and then he's just gonna show up, have no opportunity to speak and just lose, people in the chat are just gonna roast him. I mean, that's what I dealt with when I watched the replays. I got banned from playing Balrog. The week before, I OCV'd with Balrog. I go up there with my Abigail. I get washed, and the chat says, "Why is Brian F on the team?" So you know what I mean? It's not good for anyone. I feel like Street Fighter League hurt my brand more than helped. I had no opportunity to show my personality. I had no opportunity to show my character, and people thought I was an Abigail main, and they wondered why I was on the team when I just cooked last week. So they just went in between everything, just like how Capcom went in between with Street Fighter V being free to play, and then they're just not committing to any one path of what they should be doing.
Even like a little package of like, I think something like the framing of, man, last week Brian F OCV'd with Abigail or with like Balrog. Look at this like highlight package of this, and now he's banned out and on Abigail. How does that make you feel, Brian? And you're like, feels real fucking bad, man. I got banned out, and now I gotta play fucking Abigail. And you know what? My Abigail's trash, but at least my teammates can clutch it out for me. That would be like that interview and that piece, that highlight package together could frame that in a way that's like kind of fun to watch and like mess around with, right? But yeah, like it takes a little bit of extra effort and time to do something like that, so it doesn't end up with just you showing up getting beat up and you're like, well, shit, that sucked. You're like, man, I lost 5 minutes ago. You're like 10 minutes ago I won with yesterday or last week I won with Balrog, but today 10 minutes later I got destroyed, so this sucks.
Exactly. Staying true to the dumpster brand, you just
the most I had to do was make sad facial expressions to the camera whenever I noticed it looking at me to be like,
you did a great. I will say the moments they panned the camera to you where you did the thumbs up and that was all great, but I'm with you. They kind of need a little bit more interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Would you just like more like interview opportunities, or do you want like some type of like summit stuff where we're doing like skits and stuff, like other filmed products?
I don't want to see any skits because I don't think we're ready for that. The summit skits have set the bar way too high.
Yeah,
they're way too good.
Tries to make us do some skits. It's gonna just be a cringe fest nightmare, and I do not want to partake in that. But I don't know. I think the studio environment needs to be more casual and more opportunities to have the players express themselves. I'm totally cool with having us have community voted people in and making it a good time where it's not purely about competition, but just find ways to highlight that better.
Yeah, I feel like even having the like players from other teams be on the mic during the matches or something, like there's like ways to integrate people onto the microphone in a more like reasonable way than what you're seeing there. Even like how like Summit shot the roundtables. I think the roundtables would be very interesting. So like, hey, Team Gale's gonna play Team Inferno, so before they play, put them in a room for 5 minutes and like film them discussing strategy, right? And then having that as like a thing that you could play of like, okay, so Team Gale's gonna play Team whatever, like here's their strategies, and you can like play a little clip or package or something that's like, okay, well, shit, we're gonna ban Ryan S. Balrog. And then after that, we just got to hope that Justin can't beat you with his Manat. And if he bans out this character, then we're going to, like, you know, that could be an interesting segment to the show too, right?
Right. What they wanted us to do is they wanted us to discuss our strategy with the other team in the room with this tiny microphone that was supposed to be very sensitive to pick up what we're talking about. And I'm like, if you actually want us to discuss strategy, we don't want to talk about what we're doing with the other team right there.
Yeah.
So if you put us in an isolated room for us, because we actually, a lot of that strategy did happen off camera. We would actually, me, Justin, and Sean would go discuss what's going on. We would theorize what's going on, and then there's a kind of gamble of the order, which was like actually the most important part. The bans were usually more simple. The order was very, very hard to call, and that's where we put most of our thought into. You got none of that. You got none of that on the stream. So those discussions definitely were occurring, but were not captured.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best we could do when it came to those discussions, right, was like me or Jeremy or Steve or Rip, like one of the hosts or commentators who have talked with the players, maybe got to give that information via commentary, but it's completely different than like filming the actual roundtable where this discussion's happening and how this all comes.
Yeah.
I feel like it was just like a lack of planning overall, lack of equipment as well, just trying to even get those ideas. But I mean, they're still hopeful plans for season 2. I don't even know what they have up their sleeves yet, but you know, hoping they could like implement some of these ideas going forward into it, especially with like the voting phase as well, and just more interactions with the players. And I know, like, I don't think player interviews do that well, like before and after, because it depends on like who's actually speaking on the mic. I get there are some personalities that shine, but like, I don't know, I don't think doing it via an interview on the spot is how it works.
Hey, Jeremy, what's our next topic?
Jesus Christ, all right, man.
I'm freezing. My air conditioning's broken, and it doesn't work quite right. So now that it's cold, like it's blowing cold air, it's probably like 50 degrees in my room.
It's making you irritable.
Yeah, I'm freezing. No, I'm freezing. I just want to get to the next thing, you know? I'm dying over here. You're killing me, Smalls.
All right, so we had an event called the WSOE not too long ago. It was happening actually this weekend, where they highlighted, what was it, Tekken 7, Freezy McGee up there, as well as Soul Calibur 6. I think Freezy McGee actually had more screen time than Soul Calibur 6. Gentlemen, your thoughts on the event? I didn't get to see all of it, honestly. Somebody drank bathwater or something. I don't know, man. And someone's door's opening up and he's muted.
Yeah, there is between the winners finals and losers finals of Tekken, I think they had for some reason a whole segment about chugging bathwater, which I took that opportunity to practice my pause buffering techniques, and you know, every 30 seconds I would refresh to see if it was finally over, and they were going to put me out of my misery.
That just sounds gross, man.
Yeah, I watched the shouts to Ombi, one of the FGC members from Germany. Big anime head, actually put together a compilation video that I think it's made its way to Kappa. I saw it on Majin Obama stream. So it's like 20 minutes of like this 6-hour broadcast of WSOE. I definitely recommend checking it out if you didn't watch it, or if you just want to relive some of the clarity. Yeah,
I'm gonna put it up right now. Actually, go on.
It's a real interesting
example
event
of people not understanding the FGC demographic and trying to do an esports event. I think it's one of those things where I'm happy the opportunity has occurred. I'm happy the players have to go out there. Some things definitely should have been done better, and hopefully we can continue to collaborate and improve on this. But yeah, dude, what the hell is esports doing, man?
Well, what I want to know is
the commentator's names right, or the host, man. For like the longest time, Markman was Katana Prime. It was just no sense of communication from the clip that I've seen, or like the YouTube video I just posted in the chat. It was all over the place, man.
So what I want to know is, like, since it's WSOE, right, it's supposed to be a brand that hasn't done a fighting game tournament before. I want to know how many viewers were not fighting game viewers, right? Like, does it justify putting people like Sir Action Slacks, or people that are just familiar with other communities and people that have done work on WSOE before, rather than giving it to a regular fighting game person that can give you feedback on what fighting game fans want?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be interesting to see if it actually has some kind of positive effect of adding a crossover audience between, you know, who these personalities normally bring in versus it's just Tekken people watching this, or Soul Calibur people watching this and cringing intensely the entire time.
Yeah.
So maybe there is a value there that we're kind of missing. And, you know, all the Fortnite kids and Dota kids, they love when they chug bathwater, and that's what got them to tune in, and they're waiting for those segments in between the games. So maybe we're missing the point here.
I thought, okay, so I guess you guys are talking about WSOE, the bathwater segment. That was like the stupidest thing I've ever seen. The thing is like, I feel like that's a segment you have to do when you have a desk segment that's host, right? So when the host, for some reason, I don't understand this, but I guess this is how I talked about this on my stream. It's so weird. Events, when they have FGC stuff, instead of hiring a host that's endemic to the community, that knows the games, that can ask pointed questions, that really understands things, they're just like, no, we're going to grab a human, put a suit on them, and put them on the desk, and they are going to do the hosting. So they grabbed a homeboy, like Slick with the hair. Slick with the hair sat down, and he was a host, and he was great. He knows how the show flow works. He's comfortable with the format. He did an awesome job. Then you have analysts, which are supposed to be endemic to the community and know the games well, right? So you have Mark, who can do Soul Calibur and Tekken. Then you have another analyst who can, like, carry the discussion. And that was kind of the E-League format, right? We had Richard as the host, and then the rest of the desk would be, like, me and, like, you know, Rip and, like, whoever. But we also did the commentary. We did both, right? So we ended up doing analyst segment, then commentary, then analyst, then commentary. For some reason, this was like, they had Mark as analyst, and the other analyst was Sir Action Slacks, who knows absolutely nothing about fighting games, right? In fact, he's not even like a Dota analyst, which is where he's used the most. He's a interviewer, or like this is his job.
Host is his most official title.
Yeah, at TI, he gets a microphone and he walks into the crowd and he's like, "You guys love Dota? Who do you want to win?" And they go, "Woo!" And he goes, "All right, now dance like Earthshaker." And he sticks the mic in their face and they all dance, and it's like, I'm like, all right, well, I'm gonna go get a snack while they're doing this weird shit, and then they come back, and then that's it, right? That's what Sir Action Slacks does, as like that's his job. He's funny, and he messes with people in the crowd, and he's like entertaining, like that's his gig, right? That's what he does. So yeah, he's like a entertainer in that sort of aspect. So when he was labeled as an analyst, first of all, come on, who are you trying to fool here? Like, you know, he's not a Dota analyst, he's not a Tekken analyst, he's not a Soul Calibur analyst. He's just like an additional host kind of at the desk who is there, right? So I appreciate that he did a little bit of research, like, yeah, man, Green Arcade was a thing, right, Mark, man? Tell me about Green Arcade. And Mark's like, oh shit, well, yeah, Green Arcade did exist before it was a thing, and, you know, so he did a good job with that. But, you know, he's a professional memer. So when you put him on there, you don't quite have, like, a real analyst portion. So you're like, fuck, man, what are we going to do with Slacks? And Slacks is like, fuck it, I'll pour bathwater in my mouth. And, like, you're just like, all right, I guess this is going to be okay. Like, you know, I'm sure the community loves this. And, like, everybody's like, whoa, who's this fucking weird guy? Like, you know, that's, like, what's going on in everybody's situation. But I'm sure he is plugged into WSOE in some way. I'm sure he's worked with them before, so the people at WSOE were like, yeah, we love Slacks, he's hilarious, he does weird shit, he does fucking jumping jacks with barbells, and like, he's weird, like, yeah, fuck it, just put him in. So
that's weird.
Yeah, he does he squeaks rubber ducks and does jumping jacks. Whoa, kids love Action Slacks, so just put him in, right? Like, I don't know what he does, but that's what he does. So they just put him in, and it was weird, and like nobody was watching that and was like, this is fantastic, you guys are really crushing it for fighting games. But the players seem to have a great time. Like, JD's here, I asked him, he's like, the event was great. As a player, they took great care of us, we had a great time, it was super fun, I really enjoyed the experience. So it seemed like in that aspect, the players had a good time, and they had, like, the prize pool was good for fighting games, right? It was like $15K for each game, so it was pretty solid.
Yeah, I think the broadcast team wasn't quite prepared for the FGC format.
They had a Japanese flag in the background, because I guess Tekken's made by Japanese people, with like Google Translate Japanese in the background that they put behind everybody's name.
What do you mean?
Dude, no, the fake Japanese that spelled out Anakin actually tilted me. That was definitely the worst part of the show for me.
Sick.
Oh, I didn't see that. They wrote his name in Japanese characters.
Dude, it was like, because I say Japanese characters, but it's meant to look like ANAKIN. Right. Yeah, it's, oh man, I'll find the picture.
Like Japanese style font.
Right, this is
yes, like Japanese style font.
Yeah, so
awesome.
Yeah, so the first thing I saw when I turned it on was JDCR was playing, and I was like, okay, let me turn this on. And then they have a Japanese flag in the background with like yo-yo in the beginning in Japanese, and I'm like, what the fuck? This is a rap song? This is weird. And then, like, it just says, like, a bunch of random Google Translate Japanese in the background. I was like, JDCR is not Japanese. What the fuck is going on? So it was, like, a really strange... Oh, you have a clip? Or a picture?
It's the picture, yeah, from Sancho's Twitter account. You see this, right? It's supposed to spell Anakin. It's just
okay, I'm going to mess up our screen again real quick.
That is the stupidest shit I've ever seen.
Bro, what do you mean? They tried to spell out Anakin with random... I hope this means some racist shit. I hope it's like some... What do you... They tried to spell out Anakin?
Japanese language ever.
What the fuck were you thinking, guys? God bless.
That's so weird. Okay, well.
Hot damn.
Yeah, anyway, WSOE, you know, it's a solid formula broadcasting fighting games. Like, we know how to do it. We know where the player camera should be. We know how, you know, there's people who have expertise in the field that could be on an analyst desk instead of Sir Action Slacks dumping Gamer Girl bathwater in his mouth. There's, you know, you don't have to use weird Japanese characters for Anakin and JDCR. They're not Japanese. You know, it's like, there's so many things about this.
Vietnamese too.
He is Viet. The thing is like, you can do this show right, and like the thing is that there's already been highly produced invitational stuff for Tekken, like the E-League did the Tekken team takedown and stuff, right? So even if you take something like that as an example, like you shouldn't be moving so far backwards away from everything. You know what I mean? Like, first of all, why are you not hiring real fighting game analysts and not? Like, what's weird there? That's so strange, right? And then second of all, what's with this weird graphics design is my passion kind of shit they got going on in the background? And like, all of it is so strange to me because, you know, you can do something really cool and people will be like, man, WSOE did a really great fighting game event. Or you can do some weird shit and everybody's like, well, what the fuck? That was strange. And nobody is happy about it. You know, it's like, it seems like doing the right thing is not that much more work than what they did.
Yeah, well, they definitely put a lot of work into this broadcast, just in a weird direction. I just think it's classic esports event tries to do FGC event, and nobody gets it besides like Red Bull and sort of E-League. Yeah, everyone else has gotten it so wrong so many times. So it's just another example of that. I think these are things that we want to see happen. We just hope they incorporate feedback and improve from there, because the players had a great time. The broadcast can definitely be improved. I don't think they're doing anything wrong by the FGC. It's definitely a step in a positive direction. We just hope. I would just hope that things like this continue to happen and they go more in our direction and less trying to make us do slapstick comedy and chug bathwater. But the other thing is, I heard that Soul Calibur got shafted the most.
Bad, yeah.
Like they messed up so bad that Soul Calibur just didn't even get streamed for the most part.
They had like 4 matches on stream, I think, or something. And also there was the choice to, like the round of winners in the beginning, they didn't stream any of it. They just played the first round of winners off stream, which is like a really strange thing to do in an invitational. It's already a small bracket, right? And so, like, when I saw that, I was like, that's strange. But then Soul Calibur was late, and they had a bunch of issues with everything, and then they only got to stream, like, the very end of it and everything to try to catch up for time. So, like, Soul Calibur got there's tons of players there that, like, didn't even get to be on stream and stuff, which is really unfortunate. So, like, yeah, I mean, like, it's one of those situations where I don't know exactly what went under the hood there with, like, the whole production, but you can definitely, you know, point and look at other things that people have done for references about doing this whole production a little cleaner if you're WSOE, and if they're going to do it again, they definitely need to evaluate whose passion is graphic design.
Right. Yeah, and from what NyxRose said in the chat, right, they're open to feedback, which is great, because let's not forget the very first E-League FGC production, and a lot of people had problems with that the very first day, right? But they were open to feedback, they talked to the right people, and they fixed a lot of the issues. So hopefully we can see the same thing with WS.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things where, like, I remember when we did E-League, this for an example, we were in an E-League, there was a meeting in the beginning, and it was like, hey, we're going to go over the run of show. Right, so we're looking to the run of show, and we were like, hey, we got a question. There's a match, or it was either match or 2 matches and then a break, right? And we're like, hey, this is a lot of breaks. Like, can we do like 3 matches and then a break, or 4 matches and then a break? And they're like, what? People are going to be mad that there's like 1 or 2 matches and then a break? And we're like, yes, fighting game fans are spoiled for content. We get so much content per hour compared to other games. Like, I know that before that, their experience was CS, and CS was 1 game, break. And I was like, well, look, a CS game is 45 minutes. Like, a fighting game match is 5 minutes, right? Like, it's a big difference. And there was, like, a conversation where they're like, are people actually going to be mad, or is it going to be, like, a Twitch chat gets mad thing? And I'm like, no, like, trust us. And they're like, okay, we're going to try doing 1 match. And if this shit sucks, you know, then we trust you guys, we'll switch it. So they tried it, and they're immediately like, okay, this is wrong. You guys are right. Let's bump up, like, the amount of matches. So I understand, like, when you're working with a company like WSOE, I'm sure the people there are experienced. They know what they're doing. They've worked in a lot of other production companies and stuff like that, right? But the convincing takes some time for them to see, oh shit, people don't actually like this. We got to change it up, right? Because even stuff like when Soul Calibur, the way the screen was is like they had the box of the matches, right? They had like player cams and commentator cams, and like 70% of the screen was like these weird boxes of player and commentator face cams instead of the matches, and they very quickly just like cut that out and were like, oh shit, people don't like this, we got to get rid of this real quick, you know? So there is like, you know, that kind of evaluation where people figure out like, okay, well, at least we fucked this up and people would like it better if we just did this, so let's do that.
People don't really understand how different the FGC is in terms of how short a tournament set is and how precarious your position in the tournament is.
Yeah.
Other esports, like if you're in the bracket, you're in there for a good minute. You're going to be competing. Your games take an hour to compete. So there, I think the idea is, oh, we have a match off stream, no biggie. That's half your tournament life gone.
Yeah.
And that was 3 minutes.
I'm with you. I think like to them, if this was like a Dota event running like the first 4 matches off stream, it's like, oh, it's the qualifier and the top 8, right? Or something like if it's another game, they're like, whatever, it's like a top 8 qualifier, like, or it's like a top 8 match or whatever. It's not that big of a deal. But in fighting games, like, that was like an hour of broadcast time, 4 matches, right? Like it's an hour of broadcast. It's not like you cut out a huge amount of stuff. It's an hour.
And it's a once in a lifetime opportunity for that player, which might not ever be repeated again because your position in a tournament is so precarious for fighting games. You could, you know, you're never guaranteed any level of success. So people, what if an upset occurred? What if Sonic Fox bowed out early? Like these are moments that you need to capture. Like fighting games are the most ephemeral. Like the existence and the hype is so, you have to capture it right when the moment occurs, and if you miss it, it is gone. And I don't think other esports really have that same view. There's more stability and the matches last longer, and you kind of know who's winning halfway through for the most part, right? But fighting games, it's like a beautiful song. You need to capture it in the moment. You can't like just talk about it after the fact.
Yeah. Oh, man, this great match happened off stream. You guys missed it. But first round, we had Anakin versus Arslan Ash. It was pretty good. Don't worry. You guys missed it. Even though Arslan Ash actually couldn't make it. But, like, that was an off... Could you imagine if that was a match that happened off stream and no one got to see it?
My blood is boiling just thinking about it, honestly.
Yeah.
Like,
that's crazy. You invited a guy... First of all, it took this human being 40 hours to get from Pakistan to Vegas, okay? It took him like 40 hours to make it there.
It almost didn't happen.
Yeah, the trip is unbelievable how long it is. And you're going to make him play one of his matches off stream? It's like, come on, guy. This guy flew across the entire world for you, and you got to play his match off stream round 1? Crazy. Crazy. Yeah. Arslan Ash legit played 1 tournament set on stream. He just played against Jimmy. That was it.
Did he win? Because I didn't watch it.
He lost, man.
So 1 tournament set period because he got DQ'd and then he lost.
I can't believe that shit. I'm gonna say it as it is. That's kind of silly. That's very silly. Wasn't he like a headliner, the headline talent?
Yeah, I mean Arslan Ash is a big draw, right? It's like pretty crazy. Even funny stuff like, you know, the qualifier. JDCR played in the qualifier, right? At Wednesday Night Fights because he was in town, and he ended up being the 2nd seed in the tournament. So he went from not being in the tournament to like being the 2nd seed because he played in on a Wednesday Night Fights qualifier. Like the tournament is there's so many strange things about WSOE that was interesting to watch. And like I think the thing is that they had all the right players there. They had the right commentators on the microphone. So it turned out to be a really sick set of matches. I loved it. I thought the gameplay was awesome and everything. Just everything. There's a lot of little things that if tuned up make this like a super top tier product, you know?
Yeah, I'm not a person that's like super against like esports S presentation. I'm a sucker for those big screens in the back that have all these graphics flying around. Cool. I love shit like that.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah, I love it. So if they could clean up a lot of the other stuff that people are having problems with, I would be more than happy to have WSOE, or I'd be more than happy to tune into WSOE events.
I talk shit. I watched the whole thing. I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. The matches were dope. The commentary was dope. I just muted the section where, you know, there was like the guzzling happened. Everything else was like really
definitely
good.
Almost lost me.
Yeah, dude, they almost lost Eris at that point. Eris was like,
I was watching it. I had to pause Eris' stream. It was that bad. Eris couldn't even carry that. I had to pause, start until it was all done.
Eris couldn't carry a section of that stream? That's crazy. He had like 7,000 viewers restreaming or something, and he was like, I don't even know if I want to watch after that. which is pretty crazy to think about, right? Eris was almost like, I'm gonna turn this shit off. You have like a top, you have Knee and JDCR and Anakin in this like top 3, and like it's like a really like, wow, this is such a sick finals, and it's like maybe I'll just turn off the stream. Imagine that you got the top 3 of a fighting game tournament, and it's like, maybe I should just turn off the stream. It's pretty whack.
Yeah, imagine with a top 3 of a tournament that's as stacked as that Invitational was, where it's just elite players top to bottom.
Yeah. Imagine the next match is Knee versus JDCR. You're like, I don't need to watch this.
Yeah, dude.
What the fuck do you mean?
How do you fuck that up? You gotta really do something silly.
All right. Well, overall, WSOE, yay or nay for the next one? Do you guys like it?
Overall, yay.
The next one, definitely yay. I like how we talk shit, but all of us are like, yeah, do it again.
That's what I'm saying.
I definitely want
to
another
like you guys
one.
are gonna be
do it again.
Willing to watch it again. Yeah, it was terrible. The production, everything, whatever.
Matches are great.
I'll watch it again.
Yeah.
Dude, do it again. I'm down. I'll watch another one tomorrow, dude. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's cool. Like the matches are good, the players are good, commentator was good. Do it again.
Great.
I'm with it.
So it's top tier. Got it.
Yeah.
it was a top tier show. Moving on. Top tier stuff into the peripherals that it just released, or it's about to be released. Cross-up fight stick. There's a GoFundMe for this CheatBox, the newest version of the CheatBox.
Yeah. Wait a minute. It's not even out. I thought it was a teaser.
I don't think so.
There's a GoFundMe for it.
I think
there was a campaign for it. If I'm not.
Oh, I thought it was out as well.
I thought it was gonna release. Like, I didn't think it was out, like, available to purchase, but I thought it was coming soon.
Kickstarter, according
it says not yet available. I went ahead and dropped in the link. It's $200 for the cross up. Again, it says on their video, Hitbox cross ups Kickstarter August 1st.
I see.
So it's not yet available, but it is a hybrid for traditional stick and people trying to get into the Hitbox. But it's very different in the sense that the directional buttons are directly above the normals buttons, or like the striking buttons, I guess.
Maybe I should draw it on the
screen. It's
screen.
more like an assist.
Yeah.
Before we even talk about what the product is, can we just say that the commercial, the announcement trailer, was one of the greatest trailers for any FGC-related product I have ever seen.
Incredible.
The amount of suspense where they built up using these advanced Tekken techniques where they slowly pieced together each different input, and then the music was building up, and then it was electric. Oh my goodness. They sold me so fast.
I was like, what? It's that easy? Like, the way you're watching it is you're watching his hands move so slowly, and he's like, boom, doon, and then he just starts doing it, and I'm like, he learned that fast. Like, in my head, I was like, he went from not being able to do anything to completing electrics in a minute. It's like,
they teased me real good on that one.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That commercial was crazy. It got me good. I definitely felt like I was missing out by not owning one last week. I was like, fuck. I should have had this. Had this thing. This thing is cheating.
I feel like you're gonna pull one out from underneath you, like right at this very second. I feel like you're teasing us. You already
Bro, I'm watching it right now. The Devil Jin Wave Dash. Oh,
it's so sick, dude. It makes me want to pick it up. I think we should all do like a tech review. I feel like they should send each and every one of us on the show one, so that we can talk about it towards the end of August, and do some sort of review every single month. We'll have like a product of the month kind of thing. I think that's a great idea.
Well, on that topic, while I was watching it, Chris Wynn in my chat room said, would you like to try one, like demonstrate one? Since he kind of works near me, he was like, yeah, on my lunch break, I can just bring one over for you to demonstrate. And I was like, ooh.
He's gonna need 4 of those, man.
No, just one. So I can't wait to try it. Like, it's one of those things where, like, before we talk too much about the future and everything of this, if you don't know what it is, damn, he just disappeared on us. If you don't know what it is, it's a joystick, a regular joystick, right? Left hand is joysticks, there's buttons on the right. It's very similar, except there is the additional buttons that a Hitbox normally has, which is left, down, right, and then up. So you have the option to use both or either. You can do so. Like, for me, when I think about this thing, it gives you the option to do certain inputs on certain input devices. So, for instance, when I played on Hitbox, because I learned Hitbox a while ago for a little bit, and I played on it, I couldn't mash a DP in a block string with the hitbox buttons. I don't know why, but I thought it was so weird to mash an uppercut and with that input for some reason. So if I was playing on that, when I woke up DP, I would mash on the joystick and wake up DP, and then when I run up and do my combo, I would use the hitbox buttons or something like that, right? Or on hitbox, I thought it was hard to do an SPD motion, but you could just use a joystick to SPD on that thing, right? Or if I want to start a combo and then like instant air dash or TK a move, I would use the hitbox buttons to TK because that's obviously easier to hit up on, right? So like you can pick and choose your battle there between which input device you want to use.
Right. I think there's going to be a lot of techniques that come out with that. I think for the most part, if you just commit to a hitbox, majority of things might just be simpler and better on a hitbox. But this kind of allows you an in-between comfort zone, and there's for sure going to be all sorts of messed up techniques that weren't previously possible to come out. I mean, off the top of my head, jump cancel, like if you compared it to Street Fighter, not just Tekken, jump cancel command grab, right?
Yeah.
What it's really good at is allowing you to input a direction and an attack button simultaneously because you have the comfort of just pressing two buttons at the same time.
Yes.
So
on the same hand.
Half circle. If I'm Abigail, I do half circle for the motion of the command grab, and then rather than using the joystick to hit up in the button, I can just roll my finger on the jump button and the command grab input to activate it. So I don't have to be concerned about the tight timing is between the jump and the button.
Yes.
So I can isolate certain techniques to the core components and eliminate any erroneous inputs. But as far as it
that is pretty broken.
Better than a hitbox is already messed up, man. It's probably the best way to go is just a hitbox. Yeah. This just looks mad cool.
Yeah, I want to see because like what you said, right, is the combinations, and it's cool to have the like not the privilege, but like it's just the fact that you can switch between what you're more comfortable with, right, given whatever input you want to input. But I think that's the key to see how this thing succeeds or not is the combinations with the directional buttons and the joystick that you can pull off, like what they showed off in their Tekken video, right?
Yeah, I think that's the crazy part. I also think a hitbox is overall a better choice long term. But I think like there will probably be stuff that is like really good on this device. It's like it is now, right? Where some things are easy on pad or hitbox or joystick compared to the others. Like there are certain input techniques that are easier or harder on each one. And I think that this thing will add an additional joystick that's similar. Or additional, I guess, option that's similar.
My prediction is long-term there's going to be a minority of techniques that are better on this thing, but the vast majority of things you want to do will be better on hitbox. That's kind of the way where I see this going. So people are freaking out a lot more about this than hitbox, but I think hitbox is still better. I mean, if you just, speaking of FGC translated, Daigo has so many little techniques that he's highlighting. If you guys are curious about what's going on with these, what we're talking about with hitbox inputs, just go to FGC Translate and look at all the videos with Daigo talking about hitbox. There's so many subtle things that add up to huge differences with these different input devices.
Like the late flash kick for Oki.
Late flash kick, the one that got me good was how you can jump. You go from crouching to jumping without any neutral input, and that adds an additional 10 frames of reactability to EX Dolphin Die from Birdie. Because normally, if you're crouching, it hits you later. If you're standing, it hits you sooner. So if you can go from crouch to jump, you will never get hit standing. If you crouch, it hits on frame 36. If you stand, it hits on like frame 20.
Yep.
So you almost add 50% more reactability to certain techniques because you avoid an erroneous neutral input. And he said it's like way easier now.
Yeah, because you're just holding the crouch button and you let go and hit up.
Yeah, you don't have
to worry about anything in between.
Damn.
Yeah, there's definitely moments like that I don't think. The thing is about hitboxes, I think people always think about the execution of combos and movement and like different things like that. They don't think about the use of it as a tool to react or move or do things differently in the match. You know, like I can do this or X or Y thing later to do so that now like I can react differently in a match. Even stuff like Daigo. Since switching to hitbox, Daigo dashes more when he plays. And he said the reason is his dashes are unseeable on hitbox. He says, like, on hitbox, I'm like a pad player where I can instantly dash. He's like, but if I'm playing on joystick, I have the movement time of dashing, and you can see my character start to go do and dash forward. He's like, on hitbox, I just move. You can't see when I'm going to dash. It's harder to react to my dashes. So Daigo dashes way more on hitbox. It's, like, noticeable in his gameplay that his style has changed because of the input device he's playing on.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest strength for switching to hitbox for like Dragon Ball Fighters. I think that's a super big plus for hitbox is just your reaction speed and eliminating erroneous inputs, as Brian said.
Yeah, it's super big. I think in like no matter what game you're interested in, the execution not only of techniques and stuff, but also your ability to move and react. Even like I was watching in my living room, JDCR was trying a hitbox for Tekken, and he did like sidestep block. And he was like, dude, it's so cheap how fast I can sidestep block. He's like, on a lever, I have to like move block, right? Like you have to input that in block. And on hitbox, he was just like, boom, boom. And he would like do it, and he's like, this is cheating. Like he was like, it's so crazy how fast you can execute a command like that. You know, he's like, it's like trivializes something that is like super pivotal to a lot of people's game plan that is like really hard. Obviously, he is an expert at doing sidestep block on a lever. But, like, you know, he can do it, like, even faster on a joystick, which is crazy. Or on a hitbox, which is crazy.
The other funny thing about this is it's the exact same layout as Full Schedule had years ago. But Full Schedule had macros, which was the cheating part of it. But this funny layout is exactly what Full Schedule had in 2013, I believe it was, when he was cooking everyone with Viper.
What a size mouse.
God damn it. You know.
Full Schedule did have diagonals. That's what someone said, yeah. But, like, the thing is like, it's the same concept, right? Like, of what Full Schedule was doing back then, which is, like, genius. Even back in Street Fighter 4, Tokido had an up button so that he could do, like, Far Fierce, Teleport, Cancel, Ultra 2 with Akuma.
That's right.
Like, he had an up button mapped to his stick, and people were like, what the fuck, is that allowed? So I remember, like, he got a lot of shit for it, and then was like, fine, I'll take it off and do it without it.
I think the lesson we need to just fully accept as a community is that games have a set of inputs that we need to input from meat space. However we go about it, we have to input it. There's a set of unique inputs that we're required to use. Don't use any macros that overlap the inputs. However you go about inputting them is fine. And I think us having these advancements in eliminating errors and our meat space inputs is very good. I don't want us to get to the point where we're using our neural interfaces and just using our brains to do combos. I like the physicality of fighting games. That's a big draw to me. But if we can keep improving our devices so that when I choose to hit up, left, down, A, B, C, D, whatever, it's doing exactly that, and I'm inputting that in a physical realm, I think these improvements are good, and it's up to the games themselves to be programmed better to handle any type of peripheral we choose to input these things. And design choices need to change because hitbox changes the design of a flash kick, of a charge move, of crouching to jumping. The effectiveness of moves changes. So games will definitely have to think more about how they design properties of moves and design fighting games because of that. But I think they need to embrace it sooner than later.
Yeah, it's just like how the Melty developer was talking about how they had to like design mix-ups around Goichi because every other human being was getting hit by these mix-ups and he wasn't.
That's insane.
It's like the same kind of concept, sort of, right? Like if the players can do techniques or stop certain moves that are not supposed to be stopped in this way because of the hit, like whatever device they're using or whatever, right? Or some technique that's supposed to be incredibly difficult is like trivial to some players in a match, then suddenly it's like, oh shit, well we need to think about like how these moves are designed. If like taunt jet upper everybody in the world could do so easily with Brian would be such a stupid character, right? You'd be like, well, every time I get hit by Brian, you just taunt jet upper and I die. But the fact that two human beings consistently do it in tournament makes it like, okay, well, it's a little easier. Like, right, you know, and the design choice of how hard it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, all right, well, I mean, there's if you guys are interested yourselves as well, I already linked the hitbox.
August 1st.
I'm gonna put it down again. Again, they have a Kickstarter going on August 1st if you guys are interested, or bombard Chris Wynn's DMs or Sajam's DM because he already has one.
Not mine DMs. I don't have one just yet. I can't even get the fucking air conditioning to work in my house. You think I know how to use a joystick and a hitbox at the same time?
It's either it's not working or it's working too well, right?
Bruh, that's what I'm saying. This AC is all kinds of. We've had it tried to get it fixed twice now. It's fucking crazy. You know how it is.
Yeah. But hey, I'm looking forward to seeing you guys all at EVO, the guys in the chat as well, everybody in this call. We do appreciate the time for you guys talking about it. Again, with the afternoon tea, we appreciate you guys. We're definitely gonna have a post EVO discussion. 100%. It's gonna be wild. All the fighting game fans of the world, we guys hope you guys enjoyed their EVO this year. It's gonna be fucking crazy. Any last words, guys?
Where can everybody find you, starting with Rynge?
You can find me on twitter.com/Rynge_. I've been trying to get Rynge just straight up for a long time, but some Swedish business group has it and they're not giving it to me. Dude! So I just gotta hold that shit. As far as last words, besides that, never forget Lupe Fiasco made Daigo switch to hitbox.
Damn.
The truth.
Like
Speaking
that.
of Twitter handles, I'm still at BRI4NF because Brian_F is taken by a guy from Canada who's only tweeted one time. His only tweet is at Capers Tweets. Put the flame to it. That with a welly should take the edge off. His only tweet is to a restaurant about cooking a burger and having a beer.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that was in 2014, and I still cannot get that account. So if anyone from Twitter gaming is watching, help me out. Everything else is Brian_F, BRIAN_F, Twitch and YouTube. But Twitter, no luck.
I like how we've all gone through this. I think everybody's gone through that struggle except for Steve over there. I'm Vicious FGC, at Vicious FGC on all social media. I tried to get Vicious as well, but it's I guess it's a TV show. It's a British comedy starring Ian McKellen that hasn't tweeted since 2018. It says, "What we've been napping. What did we miss?" I've also been trying to get that since 2015. So, oh no, they joined in April 2013. So that's pretty much impossible. It's gonna be Vicious FGC for me. As for Steve, I don't know, man. He's got it all, really.
Twitter.com/Sajam. It's taken by a man with extremely nice hair who will be at EVO 2019. You can find me there. Although I do know your struggle. Because Sajam is only 5 letters, many services that make you require 6 or more, I'm always fucked. I'm like, I don't know what to do. A Sajam is always like, I just always take it. So for YouTube, it's Superman Sajam for that reason. If you hit !social in the chat, you'll find all of my shit. If you hit !cast in the chat, you'll find all their Twitters. And then from there, you can navigate to whatever their other social media is. Go see Brian F's nudes on Instagram and all that kind of stuff. So if you guys are interested in all that, we all stream, YouTube, Twitter, etc., etc., etc. Check us all out. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate you guys checking out Afternoon Tea. We'll probably, do another one of these in August. We try to do these monthly at least, so August sounds right. We barely made the cut this month. It was real close.
By the way, where else can we find this other than your Twitch?
Yeah, you guys can find this on Spotify and iTunes. So a lot of people asked, like, hey, I want to watch the podcast on Spotify or iTunes. I don't want to, put it on YouTube and listen to it. I want to use one of those services. So it is available on those services. If you look up Afternoon Tea on Spotify or you look it up on iTunes, you can actually find the podcast there. The first 2 episodes are on there. This episode will go up there as well via whatever RSS feed website you want to watch it on. We can put it there. So definitely check it out. And it's been a good one. I think that this is the longest one we've done yet. It's because EVO is EVO, right? It just takes, we got to talk about it. There's a lot to talk about.
You also had a 4th cast member that talked. Get fucked, Anton.
Yeah, get owned, Anton. The week that cross up was gonna be talked about, Anton was not here. Thank fucking God. We would have been here another hour and a half.
Agreed.
He'd have been like, I warned you guys, it's cheating. And I'm like, oh my God, this motherfucker Anton. He would have been like, fucking, this is the slippery slope. He would have been, I'm like, oh, fucking Anton, here we go again. Fucking.
This for Anton. I got you, bud.
This motherfucker. The first person to tweet me after the cross-up was Anton. He was like, this is the slippery slope I warned you about. And I was like, I know, Anton. I fucking know. You're right. Jesus. Anyway.
All right.
We're out of here.
Hope you guys have a great EVO. Peace out, everyone.
Peace.
Later.
Yeah.